Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the evil that men do. Father God, I pray and ask that you help me to have mercy on others the same way I would want you to have mercy on me. Father God, I also ask that you help me to be quick to forgive and slow to get angry. Amen, amen, amen. These young dudes out here don't respect shit until you put the barrel in their ear and let the text spit. I just might catch a case on my next hit, remove their whole face on some special effect shit. So show respect, Drake, or I'ma have a flashback. Digging through the dresser like fuck it, where my mask at? Then mash back with the banger and damage shit and say fuck everything I learned in anger management. Hop back on some east side manage shit and push a nigga's top back when I let the cannon spit. Start planning shit, premeditation. I'm in love with the streets again, rededication. Casket or cremation when I shoot you down. I was built for the smoke like a hookah lounge. I keep big shit that sound like a bazooka sound, and I shoot quicker than ain't gotta be a hoop around. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with 3 straps. Ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with the 3 straps. Ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps. Gun on me, it ain't never for show, homie. I'm far from a bully, but I'm never a hoe. Get out of line, my Beretta will blow. Real talk, we can take the beef wherever we go. I bring it to your front door like I'm Uber Eats. I guarantee you listen up when this Ruger speaks. Plus I maneuver through these streets like a ghost, and I'm handy with the heat. I cook a nigga like a roast. On me, homie, this is not a boast. I will still come through, boy, and stop a nigga's post. Play him close, man, Eric will ease it. Quickly off the waistband, man, and Eric will squeeze it. Leave you niggas laid out dead or paraplegic. Niggas playing in these streets while I'm very strategic. I come to your house dressed like the gas man. Shoot you 9 times, leave you stretched by the trash can. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with 3 straps. A ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with the 3 straps. A ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps. I don't put shit on Facebook, I just holler in person. Put the pistol in your mouth while you holler and cursing. All that shit you kept rehearsing and put on your live. Got your clap with the big 4-5. You bitch nigga, if you tell me to pull up, I'ma do that. That nigga who was whooping first nigga that I shoot at. Ski mask on my face, bystanders be like, who that? I ain't with the talking, bitch, boy, I thought you knew that. Leave his brains where my shoe at and bounce like I'm on a trampoline. Leave you laid out, nigga, like you camping on the scene. If you want something sweet, grab a peach or tangerine. Niggas won't smoke, but fuck it, I'ma let them handle steam. AR with the beam, you see the red dot? We tug on this trigger, nigga. It'll make your head pop. Blood pouring down to your shoes, call it Red Sox. Your brains hanging all over your shoulders like some dreadlocks. Expect the gang of dead off if they ever cross the line. The Lord said in the Bible, oh, revenge is mine. So I'm just trying to find a righteous path between the two. Before I lose control and do the shit I used to do. This being humble shit is new. I'm trying to turn the other cheek, but I ain't never been a bitch, so watch your mouth when you speak. Your mercy's what I seek, so I pray on bended knees. Don't let me get the K with the extended clip and squeeze. Lord, please. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with 3 straps. A ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with 3 straps. A ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps.
Good morning, y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good Saturday morning. Good Saturday morning, everybody, man. How y'all doing today? Hope y'all are doing great. Hope y'all are doing great. Myself, blessed, man. Blessed is the best word I could use in English. So, here we are, man. What we gonna talk about today? What we gonna talk about today, y'all? Well, first, let me take care of Brother Eric. Shout out to Brother Eric, better known 16 to Life, letting us use his music, man. We appreciate him. Go over there, check out his YouTube page, 16 to Life. The YouTube page, dude, is blowing up, man. Shout out to Brother Eric. And plus, you know, Brother Eric, just a good dude, man. Good dude. Good, solid cat, man. All right, moving on. Let me pull Brother Eric down, man. Let's see. Here I am, man. Here I am. Okay, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Before I do all this, I'm gonna check everybody in, and then I'm gonna bring up my guests. I invited a lot of people, so I only got one guest on the stage right now, so we just gonna make it work, man. We just gonna make it work. All right. First of all, I want to say shout out to Pagoda, man. Pagoda said, "Hey, Clarence, I didn't see you for a long time. Are you okay?" I don't know, Pagoda. I'm just I was chilling for a long time, man, because I had a health situation, man, and my health situation started improving. So these people said, "Hey, you got to come back. You got to come back to full-time work." So they made me come back to full-time work. So now I'm doing full-time work. So now, and it's very physical. So, you know, so a lot of times my body's still getting used to that tiredness. And, you know, so I don't, and then I got other things moving around in my life. So I had to move the Sunday show to the Saturday, day. So it's been a lot of things going on, a lot of changes going on. But hey, that's what we're supposed to do as human beings. We're supposed to adapt, right? So I'm adapting to it and seeing how it's gonna work. If I have to change something else around, I change something else around. But I'm okay with Goda. I'm okay. I'm actually, the Lord is blessing my health to improve. So slowly but surely. But shout out to Vagoda, man. First one on the docket today. Next one on the docket today is Risa Neal. Shout out to Risa Neal, man. I couldn't do this without Risa Neal, man. Couldn't do this without Risa Neal. But Clarence, you don't even talk about Risa. You know, there's a lot that Risa does behind the scenes that y'all don't see, man. So, and Risa got bricks here. She put in work. She got some bricks with her name in them over here. So, but besides that, a lot of stuff behind the scenes, man. So, but I'm gonna tell you, man, right now when she's doing her moderator thing, man, if you coming over here to play some games, please ask a question, because that's what we want. We want to ask questions, right? I don't know everything. I don't know if my guests know everything. I doubt it, but I don't know everything. We don't know everything, man. We're just going to ask some questions and see if we can come to a consensus or not. No big deal. But the thing is, we want to, have a nice discussion. So my sister Risa is out there, and she's going to say, hey, look, man, she's out there to try to protect everybody, make sure nobody gets insulted or nobody's, coming at nobody crazy. And she's the quick draw. She quick draw McGraw, right? Remember quick draw McGraw? I'll do the thinning around here, Baba Louie, right? Well, okay, well that's Risa, right? And the rest of us are Baba Louie. So let's don't put Risa to work, because Risa will ask questions. Risa will shoot first and not ask questions, right? Right? And then all the rest of us are gonna have to act like we don't know who put you out, and we all know who put you out, right? So let's don't put Risa to work. Let Risa sit on the couch, relax, or whatever she's doing. Let her relax, and But we are glad she's here, because she's that security guard that we need in the chat. Shout to Risa. Who else is in the building? Sister Annie. Excuse me, Brother Clarence. Y'all talking about the Lord today? I might be up there, Brother Clarence. I might be up there, right? Shout out. If we talk about them kids or the Lord, Sister Annie might be up here, man. So, but shout out to Annie, man. Another good sister, man. Reese's good sister. Sister Annie's good sister. A lot of stuff they do behind the scene. Annie got bricks in here too. So, it's just a lot of good people here, man. I got blessed. I really got blessed, because, these people ain't just my friends. They're my family, man. And when I'm showing my behind, they will come and get me. They will come and get me, man. But shout out to them, man. Shout out to the Sister Eddie. Glad to have you in the building, sis. Who else in the building? Oh, Bree's in the building. Shout out to Bree. Good to see you, Bree. Good sister, another good sister, man. Over there on Critically Drinking. If you haven't already subscribed to Critically Drinking, get on over there and subscribe to Critically Drinking, man. That's a good show. But Clarence, they don't always agree with you. I know. That's why I love them. You know, sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. It's okay. I think that we as Black people should be open to different perspectives and then discuss it. And then either we agree, we don't agree, but we don't have to be upset with each other because we don't agree with each other. Oh no, you don't want you're upset with me, man. Come on now. We can disagree and just keep on rolling, man. That don't mean we don't have no affection for each other. Bree said, y'all know we get particular over there. Yeah, but it's a good thing, Bree. It's a good thing. Like, at least I'm one of the kind of Black people that say, hey, there has to be a variety of thinking. We can't just all think the same way. If we do, we're never gonna progress. We're never gonna get nowhere if everybody's only on one page, right? But moving on, we also have Brother Von Bryant in the building. Shout out to Von Bryant. Von, you're supposed to be up here. I sent you the link. You're supposed to be up here if you can. If you can, get up here, right? Another good brother, man. Von Bryant, man. Another good brother, man. Always willing to do what he can in the cause of good, man. So shout out to Von Bryant, man. If you get a chance to get to know Von, man, you're a very blessed individual, man. Good brother, man. All these people, man. Everybody in the chat. If you get to know these people, man, good people, man. Good people, man. That's all I want to be around. All right, now let's get moving. Now, why did I call y'all here today? Well, because I was looking at some young men that were in the court system that were getting smashed. I was looking at some young men when I was in the not only family court, but in the child support court getting smashed, right? I was looking at some men that just having their life torn into pieces and literally it's behind an unvirtuous woman. So I wanted to discuss that by showing y'all that, hey, that ain't nothing new, because they always say, oh, you understand. See, it's different now. Oh, okay. It's different, right? We can go right to the Bible, go right to the Quran, and we can find the same type of women there, right? Same situation. So that's what we did. We said, we're going to talk about Sampson. Since it's so different today, we're going to talk about Sampson, right? I got a guess here. Holy smokes. Arshawn, are you there?
Yes, sir. How's everybody going? How's everybody doing?
I think everybody's doing okay, brother. Good to see you. Okay, now I brought Arshawn here. And I got a couple other people coming because I wanted different perspectives. I didn't want just everybody just agree with me. Well, nobody disagrees with me, but some people, will, kind of like say, well, Clarence, and I don't have anybody that I invited to do that today, but every now and then somebody will disagree with me just because of me, because they like me, right? But I really appreciate that person that likes me enough to where if they disagree, like Rico, man, Rico would just argue with me. Rico will just become indignant, right? And then say, all right, call me tomorrow, man. So, but I like that. I like everybody who says how they feel, man. If they agree, they agree. They don't, right? So anyway, Arshawn, brother, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm all right, man. I'm all right. So it feels like, even though it's like lunchtime here, it feels like first thing in the morning. I feel like I need coffee. I feel like my brain's not with me, but I promise you, you're going to say something that's going to get all my blood rushing.
Okay.
And I'm going to be right with us. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be clicking.
I believe it. Shout out to Sister Inya, by the way, the poetess. Glad to have you in the building. Okay. We're here to talk about Sampson. Since things are so different, Arshawn, we're talking about Sampson. Sampson is a man in the Bible, the strongest man in the Bible, according to what most people say, right? Mm-hmm. I think we got another guest, Arshawn. Hold on. Von Bryant is in the building. Von Bryant is in the building. Vaughn, are you there, Vaughn? Yes, I'm here.
Another strong man.
Yes, sir.
Another strong man.
You're right, Arshawn. I'm strong.
Yeah.
Long and strong.
You know how strong he has to be to carry all those wrenches? Like he's got like a backpack with 2,000
Yeah,
wrenches in it.
man.
All right. Cut it out. Sorry about that, gentlemen. I had a little bit of technical difficulty, as you know.
That's
So,
all right,
Yeah.
brother. That's all right. We still love you.
but I'm here
All
now.
Yes,
right,
sir.
Yeah.
Vaughn.
Yeah.
Do you know why we here, Vaughn? Do you
Well,
know why
we're
we here?
going to be talking about. We're talking about Samson, right, in the Book of Judges.
We're gonna
What
go
the
through
fuck
the
is
book of
Samson?
Samson. We're gonna go not the book
Right.
of Samson, excuse me, the book of Samuel, but we're gonna go. Judges, excuse me, but we're gonna go into
Did I say the Book of Samuel? I've been reading and studying too much, I guess. But Book of Judges.
Me too. But we're gonna walk. We're gonna just ask some questions, man. We're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna ask some questions.
All
I know Arshawn's gonna ask some questions. That's why I
I've
wanted
got
him here.
questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I wanted him here because I wanted different perspectives on this Sampson situation, right? Because Vaughn, they always tell you, me, and Bolo, and Rico, they always tell us, "Oh, it's different now. The women are different. The women are different now, right?" And so I said, "Okay, let's dead that argument now. Let's go into the Bible and let's find somebody who's dealing with the exact same situation that's happening today, right now." All right, y'all ready?
Let's go.
Any other opening statements before we go?
Well, listen. Only thing I'm going to say
Uh-huh.
is I'm going to say this right off the bat. This is going to be our first point of contention.
Okay.
The fact that you're saying the unvirtuous women are the problem. Just letting you
Okay.
know. That's the problem. That's where that's going to be our first bone of contention. That's where we're going to start. So when we get to that point,
When did I
So wait a
say?
minute.
When did I say that the unvirtuous woman was the problem?
well, you're the framing of this whole conversation, like Sampson, how men typically meet their demise behind an unvirtuous woman.
That's true.
So that's
Okay.
Okay. So
Now, could there be any truth to that statement?
Oh, of course, they can always play a
Well, I
part,
think
but
that's probably the standpoint of which Brother Clarence is going to make his his point, right?
Like I said, when we get there, when we get to making the claim, I just want to let him know ahead of time. He's like, I want Rashawn because we're gonna have a different. Yeah, we're gonna have a different perspective.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is going to be my only little something before I get started.
Mhm.
Do you think that the person that you sexually select can have an impact? Shout out to Arshawn.
Absolutely.
Impact can the person you sexually select and choose to spend your life with? No, you don't even want to spend your life with. You just sexually
It could
select
be
them.
one night.
Can
It could be
that
one
person
day.
have an impact on your life, the rest of your life?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goes
That's
without
my-
saying.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
that's my wet cement that we laying now, right? We're gonna let that we're gonna put that to the side, let that
Yeah.
harden. All right. This is the story of Sampson, gentlemen.
Mhm.
Now, what was the point of Sampson coming along, right? Why was Sampson was allegedly a champion, right? Why would we need a champion? What's going on here? Why would Israel need a champion?
Well, he was one of the judges, right? Isn't that correct?
Absolutely, he was a judge.
Because they wanted to have kings, but instead they didn't have kings, so they had judges.
Right.
And somewhere along the line in the scripture, if you read about it, it'll give you the individual names of the judges. I believe that Samson was one of them.
Yes, for 20 years.
Okay. For 20 years, all right. Well, Clarence been reading the story a little bit.
A little bit, a little something. Okay, so obviously there is a crisis going on where you would need somebody to come along to correct some things, right? You don't need a Moses if everything is correct. You don't need a Noah if everything's correct. You don't need a Jesus if everything's correct. You don't need a Samson if everything's going the way it's supposed to go. You don't need these men. But obviously these men show up because there's a dilemma there. There's a situation that needs to be corrected. So the Israelites once again is tripping. They doing their thing, right? They chilling, they doing their thing, they kicking it, they dealing with the prostitutes, they doing all manner of all kind of unclean stuff, right? According to the Lord, right? So the Lord said, hey, I put you in this situation. I let you come into this situation where the Philistines were on top of you, right? The evil ones are your dictators because you just kept doing what you want to do. Okay, I stand back and let you reap the rewards of it. So now it's been 40 years that they reap the rewards. Okay, now there's a need for a champion. Okay, I want to set that up before we start reading. Okay, here we go, gentlemen. Here we go. And stop me whenever you got a question. Judges 13, 1. And the children of Israel did evil again in this. Again. What does that word again means?
Well,
It means
they repeatedly.
they have done it before, right? So now they did it again, right? Once again. The children of Israel have did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years, right? Okay. You want to trip, baby? Okay, no problem. I'm not going to, I'm not going to just because you my chosen people, I'm going to let you trip, without a consequence to it. Because then other people going to look at you and say, hey, if they doing it and ain't nothing happening to them, I should be able to do it too. That ain't fair. They'd have a point. And there was a certain man of Zorah, right, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. Now, do we know why she's barren? It could be behind him, right? He might not be.
It doesn't particularly say why she was barren.
That's what it says.
It doesn't even mention her name at all. It just says, this woman.
Yeah. Right. But it could be he firing blanks, right?
Oh, but hey, it could be issues on both ends. So
that's what I'm saying. So we're not giving that information right now. She just isn't conceiving because obviously she's just having sex with him. Okay. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman and said unto her, behold, thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Does that mean she's going to conceive from him? She conceiving from somebody? What's going to happen here? That's a good question.
It wasn't an immaculate, conception.
How do you know, Vaughn?
Well, I don't believe that it was an immaculate conception. As we continue on to read, Manoah was her husband. Therefore, I believe that they both got together and was able to bear that son.
That's what it leads us to believe, but I'm just saying there's no information.
Yeah, so that's how I read into it. I don't really get, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we can make it very complicated when it's saying what it's actually saying.
It never said they got together.
Well, I mean, it doesn't give the whole descriptive story of, where they slept and what color the bed was, and see what I'm saying, how many curtains was hanging. But we do definitely know that they lived in a house, right? They didn't live on the street, so some things we can just assume, right? We can just assume.
Okay, I will take that. What do you think, Arshawn?
I'm on Brother Vaughn.
Ready?
He on you. He on your case. Now we have to make some safe assumptions. I think because it was not specified otherwise, we should assume that the child is from this father.
Okay.
Although this does mirror the Christ foretelling by an angel, I don't think we should jump to it's an immaculate conception. And I get it. Yeah. But I get where you're coming from.
I'm just opening the door for questions. That's all. All right. Now, then this angel still talking to the lady saying, now, therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink or eat any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Right. So this kid is going to correct this problem. Right.
Right. And let's just talk real quick about the fact that he was a Nazarite.
Okay.
You see, we don't want to get that confused with someone from Nazareth. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He was a Nazarite. It was you see what I'm saying? And sometimes we get these words and we mix them all together and we say, oh, well, he was from Nazarene. He was a Nazareth. No, he was a Nazarite.
Okay.
You know, and what that was is that he had a certain consecration from birth all the way up into his older age, due to a vow. If you go to Numbers chapter 6, verse 1 through 21, it'll tell you exactly what that vow entails.
Right.
In order to be a Nazarite, you know, he couldn't touch a dead body. He couldn't be given to strong drink. You see what I'm saying? He couldn't shave his head.
Right.
You know, and so there were certain guidelines that he had to live his life by, you know, in order for him to hold this position of a Nazarite. So I just wanted to point that out real quick.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the same as any group of people that striving to live a certain way, right? The same way with the Muslims, the same way with the Christians, the same way with with everybody. You know, they have there's standards that we have to live by that people can identify us by looking at us or watching how we behave to say, oh, you're under this teaching or you believe this way or whatever, right? So, okay, he was a Nazarite. But the more important thing was he told the woman, the angel tells the woman, hey, don't drink no wine and no strong drink, no liquor. Can't go to the liquor store. You know, you can't eat unclean thing. No hot dogs out of 7-Eleven, right? You can't eat no unclean thing, right?
Say no Jim Beam, no Ciroc,
no Jim Beam,
no Southern Comfort.
No beef jerky, no jerky beef, no beef jerky. No, nothing unclean, right? You gotta stay with it, right? Because why? You don't want nothing to come into your system that's going to affect this child. This child should be born unclean. Born clean, right? Obviously, there was no Similac at that time, so she's breastfeeding this baby, right? So everything she eats is going to go into this baby, right? So he's telling her, hey, don't do nothing, man. Don't as Mr. Farrakhan said, don't shake the stove, right? You got a woman with a baby. Don't be stressing her out all the time. Just make sure don't shake the stove because she got something in the oven and you're gonna mess it up shaking the stove. All right, so then he says, hey, you're gonna conceive a son, and no razor shall come on his head. For the child should be a Nazarite unto God from the womb, right? And he shall begin. He ain't gonna deliver. He's gonna begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines, right? He got a certain work he got to do to get the ball rolling, right? He might not see it all the way to the end, but he's gonna be there to get the ball rolling. Then go ahead.
Yeah, just real quickly, you know, it's so strange that these stories are of old, and even today we still see that there's some issues between Israel and the Philistines. Is it the Philistines or Palestine?
Palestine.
Okay.
Palestinians.
Okay. Now, are those the Philistines? Would they be considered Philistines?
They might consider them that way. I don't think those they were the Philistines of the old. I don't think that's the Philistines they talk about now.
Okay, well, Israel is still warring with someone that they warred with many moons ago. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. That was the point.
Yeah.
It's been a long feud, apparently.
Yeah, it's the Hatfields and the McCoys, basically. All right, so let's move on, man. I'm trying to get rid of these glad bags, man. All right, so okay, 6. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of God came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God, very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. Right? So she went to her husband. Hey, baby, guess what? This dude showed up in a bright new suit, and he just said, hey, he said, baby, you're gonna have a baby. You're gonna have this baby. But I asked him, well, who are you and where you come from? He didn't say. He just split. But he said unto me, behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. Right? He told me this is how I got to do so this boy can go do what he got to do for God. Right? Then Manoah entreated the Lord and said, oh my Lord, let the man of God, which thou didst send, come again unto us and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born. Right? Manoah's going along with it, but he kind of like, I don't know, man. Girl, are you on that hooch? What's going on? Okay, a man all of a sudden just showed up out of the blue to you. Told you gonna have a baby. Okay, all right. I'm gonna go along with it. I'm gonna ask the Lord to send him back so I can verify your story. Right? If he didn't want no verification, he wouldn't have said nothing, right? He would say, oh, okay, cool. Let's get moving. But he said, nah. You ran into this dude, right? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right, well, let me ask to send him back. Right? So he wants some verification, right? Not bad. Just say, dude wants some verification. He said, and God hearkened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came again unto the woman as she sat in the field. Now she's in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. Right? Manoah was gone working or whatever, right? And the woman made haste, man. She ran and showed her husband and said unto him, behold, the man hath appeared unto me, the man that hath appeared unto me, that came unto me the other day, he's here, right? And Manoah arose and went after his wife and came to the man and said unto him, art thou the man that spakest unto the woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, now let thy words come to pass. Like, hey, you said you're going to do it, so how we going to get it done? How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him? Right? So it looks like you guys are right. Hey, looks like Manoah's probably the dad of this child, right? I'm just saying, it looks that way.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware. Right? In other words, she better do what I told her to do, or it ain't me you got to worry about, right? She may not eat of anything that cometh of the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe. Say, hey, man, do what I told you to do, and everything's going to be cool.
Mind if I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I want to ask you a question, both of you two gentlemen, because I know this is from there's a religious camp that has a very specific hierarchy of God, man, wife, child.
Okay.
Have we heard that before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about the fact that in this instance, God is circumventing the man? He's going directly to the woman multiple times. Because he's definitely working around Manoah.
Okay.
What do y'all think about that? How does that hit y'all? In that within the frame of mind of that hierarchy of God, man. Why is God working around the man here?
Hold on, I have a little bit of background noise, so I'll go after Brother Clarence.
Okay. In my best estimation, there could be a couple of things going on. One of which, if he told her, she probably wouldn't have believed it. she may not. Well, she may not have. She may have said, "I've been with you all this time. We still haven't had no baby." Well, where you get this from? And if he would have said, "I got it from the angel of the Lord," she would have said, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Go call him back so I can hear it myself." So she may have done. She may have, you know, whoever decided to send the angel may have said, "You know what? Let's just cut to the chase. Let me send him to talk to her." Because if he would have told her that, he was going to ask for this man anyway, and things are going to go faster if she gets the revelation and then gives it to him than if he gets it and gives it to her. That may have been what was going on. What do you think?
Well, okay. So, you know, I guess sometimes we get stuck in this cloud of believing that, you know, God only speaks to man first. You know, sometimes he will give a word or share something with the woman. You see what I'm saying? Before he even speaks to the husband, you know? And so God does things in his own way and in his own time. You know, it's not just one set rule. You know, now when it comes to what was the word that Brother Arshan used? When we're talking about God and then man and then woman and then children, you know, those are specific roles that we do carry. You see what I'm saying? But God operates within that the way that he will operate within it. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes we're so bullheaded to the point to where we should only be the ones hearing from God. Let the woman be silent. But see, God has a word through her as well. So I'll leave that there.
I like it. I like
Are we good, gentlemen? Can we move on?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We got a lot of stuff to get to, man. Sampson wasn't
Hey, you asked me a question,
no
man.
joke, man. Sampson wasn't no joke. Stop it. All right, so let's go. Let's go, y'all. Okay, where we at? Let's go.
I believe it was verse 9.
No. We're 14. No, 15. 15. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, I pray thee, let us detain thee until we have made ready a kid for thee. So they want to, they want to kind of celebrate, right? You know what I mean? It's like, hey, man, thank you for this good news. We want you to stay and chill with us for a minute. And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy bread. And if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto the Lord. For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Lord, right? So he wasn't no spook, right? I mean, he wasn't no spirit. He was a man. He offered him something to eat, right?
Exactly. And there's a scripture, Brother Clarence, that talks about that we should be careful how we entertain strangers because we could be entertaining an angel unaware. You see what I'm saying? And so, we need to take that into account. For those of you who believe in angels.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Ron? All right, so anything to add, Arshan? I guess Arshan said not yet. He must be checking in.
And my computer is seizing up. My bad. My computer is seizing up, and I'm not sure what's going on. So, but you can keep going. I'm trying to figure this out.
Okay.
And is my sound okay, Brother Clarence? I'm sorry. Am I going in and out at all?
No. You're fine. Everybody's fine. So far, so good. Cool. All right. Let's see. Where we at? 17. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, what is thy name? That when thy sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor, right? So he's like, hey, look, man, when these things come, we want to give you the praise. The angel's like, this ain't me. I'm telling you what I've been told to tell you. Don't praise me, praise God, right? So Manoah, he said, and the angel of the Lord said unto him, why askest thou thus after my name, seeing it is a secret? Like, it don't matter what my name is. All that matters is you do what I told you to do, and you know who sent me. That's what matters, right? Okay, so Manoah, 19. So Manoah took a kid with the meat offering and offered it up on a rock to the Lord. And the angel did wondrously And okay, now watch this. Watch this, y'all. Now, see, some of y'all say, oh man, I don't believe this and that. Okay, watch this. So Manoah took a kid up for the meat offering and offered it up on a rock to the Lord. And the angel did wondrously. And Manoah and his wife looked on. For it came to pass when the flame went up toward heaven from the altar, that the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. And Manoah and his wife looked on it and fell on their faces to the ground. What's going on?
And some people would say, what were they smoking?
What were they smoking? What was going on? Remember Cheech and Chong, Vaughn? Arshawn too young to remember Cheech and Chong, right?
Of course I remember.
The hallucinations that they used to have all the time, right? Right? remember they were trying to catch that bat. They were trying to catch that bat and eat that bat. Get the black chicken. Get the black chicken. Right? All right, so what's going on? Arshawn, what's going on, man? What's happening here?
Hey, they're having a ceremony. They're offering something up to God, but that dude was an angel. So I mean, what's he supposed to do?
And it was time for him to bounce.
Yeah,
I've been to bounce, man. I gotta go, baby. You trying to put my name, and you trying to put me out there, and I'm like, man, hey, no, bro. I have an employer. Right?
But the angels typically always did something showy. Like they always kind of did something kind of all striking. They like to do something all striking. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You know, I'm sure big and bold. Whoa, don't be afraid.
I could imagine music behind it all too, Arshawn. You know,
definitely.
You know, that angelic.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, they wanted to do a good thing, but they wanted to do it in a bad way, right? They want to do a good thing. They want to honor the person that gave them the news, right?
Right.
But the angel had to educate them. I don't do this work of myself. I don't work of myself. You honoring me, that would be dishonoring the person that actually is making this happen, right? Who told me to tell you, right?
But I believe their intentions were good.
Me too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Vaughn. Their intentions were good. They just didn't know. They were just ignorant of what they were actually doing, right? Which is different. That's why you can't hold something against somebody.
Like so many of us are.
Yeah, right. Sometimes we just don't know what we're doing or know what we're talking about, what we're saying, but we think we do. We think we really do. We think we really got a handle on it, right? All right. You ready to move on, gentlemen? We got a lot to get to, man. Ooh, Sampson.
Yeah.
Okay, they fell on the ground. But the angel of the Lord did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was an angel of the Lord. And Manoah said unto his wife, we shall surely die because we have seen God. Right? Yeah. Maybe now Arshawn, I may answer your question. Maybe that's why they came at the woman first.
Yeah.
They probably thought this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, but his wife said unto him, if the Lord were pleased to kill us, he would not have received the burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands. Neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would, as at this time, have told us such things as these. Now,
that's a good point right there.
It is
right.
That you're making. Now you see how the woman had to reveal that information to the man.
Right.
You see, we are so reluctant to get a word from a woman because we feel that she's so beneath us. And I believe that we missed the mark many times doing that.
Good point, Vaughn. Good point. And that's the thing. And so that's part of leadership is not knowing everything, because you can never know everything. Part of good leadership is being able to recognize when you have somebody in your ranks that can do something better than you or to have a better handle on something than you, and put them in a place where they can thrive at what they do. Right? You know what I mean? You own a bank. You don't want to put the person that runs the vacuum cleaner in front of the vault. You want somebody who knows how to lend money and how to look at debt ratios. You want that person. So part of leadership is recognizing who. And so if my wife has a finance degree, why am I going to go buy a car and not take her with me when she knows all about finance rates? She knows all about how to negotiate down the price. She knows all about all of that. Yeah. But some people are just, I'm just going to do it because the man is the man.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't take away from your leadership at all. You see what I'm saying? You're just using wisdom. Yeah, you're just using wisdom.
It really adds to it. So I do agree that as far as responsibility and results, God, man, woman, child, I do, because when it's all said and done, it's gonna fall on the man what's happening in that house. Right? It's gonna eventually fall on the man. If the bills are not getting paid, they're looking at the man. If the children are not dressed, don't have no clothes, they're looking at the man. If they don't have no beds to sleep on, they're looking at the man. If they don't have food in the fridge, they're gonna look at the man. The woman might be the cause of the situation, but people are gonna look at that man and say, your leadership is the reason why this is like this. And so in that terms of responsibility, yes. But in terms of being a leader, as the man of the house, as a man, you got to put people where they're going to, where their strong suits are. Don't, you know what I mean? If your woman has a business degree and a finance degree, why not let her be heavily involved in buying a house, buying a car, buying anything that has to be financed? That makes sense, right? Hello. You guys here?
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like a rhetorical question. I didn't think you needed feedback on that one.
All right. Let me see. Anybody else we need to shout out? Shout out to Anderson the Great, by the way. Shout out to Anderson the Great. Glad to have you in the building, my Taurus brother. Who else is in the building? Demetrius, shout out to you. And Marcus, of course. We talking about Sampson, right? The strongest man in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Why did his situation go left, right? And how does that relate to the men that's out here today? Because I thought, hey, Clarence, you don't know. Everything's different. These women are different. Oh, they are? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We just went back thousands of years and see that women are pretty much the same. There's some good ones and there's some not so good ones, right? And the basic thing is you're going to have to use your discernment to judge who you spend time with, right? Because we're not like animals, right? Animals, see, women are competing for your attention. The females don't compete for the men's attention. All they got to do is just be in front of them and it's on and cracking, right? But now you have so many females in the human population that they have to compete. So how do they compete? How do they separate themselves from each other? They use a beauty appearance. They use a beauty appearance to separate themselves from each other. But if you just go off of that, oh boy, you don't check their beauty appearance and check their value system behind that beauty appearance. Oh boy. All right, y'all, let's get back to Sampson. Strongest man alive. Let's see.
Yet the weakest man. Go ahead.
The weakest man, very weak. But like us all, we're all weak, man. If we don't have a structure that we use to connect to God, man, we're gonna be weak. In a wicked world like this, man, we're gonna be weak. Oh, Clarence, it's a very wicked world. Anyway, and the woman bare a son and called his name Sampson. Okay, so now she had the boy. I guess they did their groove thing. They got together, and now she had a son. So we know at least 9 months later. And the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. Case closed, done deal, right? And the Spirit of the Lord began to move him at times in the camp of Dan between Zorah and Ishtar, right? Okay. Y'all ready for 14?
Yes,
Before
sir.
we go, let me ask y'all a question. Because
okay.
you brought up his strength and his weaknesses, right?
Uh-huh.
He had everything. Like we always we have these excuses now that we say like, oh, it was a single parent home, or they didn't have both parents, or they were disadvantaged. He had the structure. He was a Nazirite. He had both parents in the home, and it was God ordained. Like, so these are people that had this wasn't just like a unplanned parenthood. This was something where an angel came and delivered the news about what they're going to have in their son, what he's supposed to be, and what his beginning, what the fate or destiny that he was designed for. With all that, how does he still fall prey to what he fell prey, his weakness? How does that weakness there, in spite of all these systems and structures that are there to prop him up? The faith, the parents, all of this is there, but yet we still have Samson being Samson.
You want me to go, Vaughn, or you want to go?
Yeah, go ahead, brother. I'll piggyback off of you.
Okay. All right. So that's the point. He had everything he needed to do right, but he chose to do wrong, right? Because even though he's there, he's got to have the free will. He's got the free will. That means that even though you got everything, you got the teaching, you got everything that you need to move forward, there might be a character flaw. There might be a character flaw that's hidden, and eventually it'll come out. See, character flaws usually come out in when success comes, right? You see somebody, they struggling, and then they have then at some point they get some success, and then they go over the top. They go off the reservation, right? That's usually because now they're so focused before that they don't let their character flaw get in their way. But now when the success come, when the money come, when the fame come, prestige come, now they character. And I hate to make, but I'm gonna make an example. Whitney Houston, in my opinion, was an example of this because she was so laser focused on her career. When her career when her career was just over the top, she had character flaws she was able to indulge those character flaws. It's like Sampson was able to indulge some character flaws based on his success, in my opinion. But I'll let Brother Vaughn get into it.
Yeah. Well, just like Paul said, for I know that in me, that is in this flesh, dwelleth no good thing. And so when we move and we progress toward fleshly things, then we are not fulfilling those spiritual things, and we could succumb to some of these things that we suffer, due to the flesh. And it's just as simple as that. I don't care how anointed you are. I don't care how many accolades you have across your name. You see what I'm saying? You're still in this human body, and you are apt to be tempted. You see what I'm saying?
So let me ask a follow-up question real quick.
Okay.
So if back then, this was probably about 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago was Jesus, and this is probably about another 1,000 years before that. How can a person, like most of the people today, without the same level of faith and the faith system that they're born into, without the same social supports, because the Israelites had a very strong structured social system, and I would say the parental, the familial structure. He had both, he had parents that were in proximity and close and that were tapped into the faith. Mm-hmm. And we have far more distractions now. Are we putting too much expectation on people today to withstand when he couldn't do it with all the supports? How are we going to do it with none of them and all this distraction? Like, because if he couldn't, they just had a little ankle out and a little face uncovered, and Sampson following down the street like Pepe Le Pew, floating on fumes. How are these men go when we got the IG, we got the free, prawn on all these? How are women too? How are we supposed to resist all of this when they couldn't do it and they had far less temptation?
Well, I don't know if they had far less temptation, because I believe that temptation is just simply that. Either you're going to withstand it or you're not. You know what I'm saying? But it has everything to do with the commitment to God. And sometimes we go astray from that commitment. And sometimes we don't always keep those commandments. You know, some people say, well, I keep the law and I keep every tit and tittle of the law, or whatever they say. You see what I'm saying? And that's not true. You see, that's just simply not true. You know, so we are human beings and we are apt to err. But we can go to God with our mistakes. See, that's the beautiful thing about it. You see what I'm saying? In this flesh dwelleth no good thing. And until we really grasp that concept, then we're going to continue to make these mistakes, because some of us think that we've already arrived when we're still trying to get there.
Yeah, agreed. My feeling is that the level of temptation is always going to be relative to the technology of that space and time, that disposition. So it's going to be relative. So what's would be a like Sampson would never make it in this today, right? If Sampson was here,
it'd be a wrap.
Where I'm at now, he'd walk the 6 or 7 blocks down to Figueroa. He'd be done, right?
Well,
right?
Listen, Brother Clarence, especially if you just snatched him out of from where he is,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. To him, it would be like, oh my God.
Right. But if he came up in this that we're speaking of, like many of us have, you know, then he would be used to some of these things. You see what I'm saying? And know how to contend with them better.
Of course. That's my whole point, is that he's not from here. And if he came now, the temptation that he had, the temptation that he thought it was tempting then, if he came here now, his head would just pop off, right?
And vice versa, Brother Clarence, vice versa. If we were to snatch Arshawn and take him back in those times, you see what I'm saying? It would be a rude awakening.
I don't know, man.
Because we're not used to living that way, right?
Right.
Oh, it'll be a rude awakening. You know, Brother Clarence, you take me back in that time, no internet, no cars? Nah. I'm throwing myself off a cliff, man.
I think Arshawn would be bugging all the priests. I got another question for you. I got another question for you. They say, young man, please get out of here now.
That would be very fun to see him travel in time and see how he would deal with the situation. You know,
that would be crazy.
But here's the point, gentlemen. Here's the glue that connects everything together. You have to have discipline, no matter what the situation you're in, right? Because we have people in jail now. We have people in prison now. They have the temptation of having same sex relationships, right? Because they want to have sex so bad that there is an option to have same sex relationships. Now, if they are a person that contends that I don't have same sex relationships, it's going to be a challenge for them, because they feel like, hey, I can get the release. What happens in jail stays in jail, and I could, you know what I mean? But if they really down to the core say, hey, look, man, this is what I'm about. And even though I really want this, I'm going to use the discipline that God gave me to refrain from this behavior, right? So temptation is in the level of in my opinion, is relative to the technology available, right? It's relative. So that being said, even though we have all this happening today, Arshawn, your question was, how can we expect people to be, virtuous today? The only thing we can do is give you the option of having the discipline. The discipline is your biggest tool to be able to use to deal with a wicked society, man. Because this world is wicked. Your wife could walk out the door with good intentions. I love my husband. I don't want to be with nobody else. And then she might have a hidden desire. And when she meet the right man, it unlocks that hidden desire. That may happen. That's why if we don't keep praying so that we can see when we going off, this is my opinion. That's why we have to stay connected, because if we won't see when we going off. And by the time we look, we way somewhere else than where we should be. Now, your wife one day walks out of the house and, she been telling Ramon at the job, I don't want to go to lunch. And she just say, okay, I'll go to lunch this one time because she was mad at you. 6 months later, her and Ramon is pumping and sweating in the shed, right? She talking about she going out with her girls. But she's sitting there on the bed saying, how did I get in this situation? Right? Because all the devil needs is crack the door open just a little bit. And once you keep that door cracked open, keep cracking it open, you did this, you might as well do that. You did that, you might as well do this other thing. You did that, you came this far, you might as well do that. Well, we off the reservation. Bree said because she's an idiot then. Yeah, she's an idiot, Bree, but we all have temptations. We all have things in us that we want, right? This is what I like. Y'all see this? I'm a collector of these old Mattel football games, these old, head-to-head football, head-to-head basketball, stuff like that. I collect these things, right? Because I like to play with them. I'm just a big kid at heart. But like I said, because I say, okay, I'm gonna have my fun. I have to create my own fun. I don't want to be in a situation where I have to let someone else make my fun for me. Then I'm stuck when they don't want to make fun for me. Now I don't have no fun. I don't want to be in that situation. And Bree says, so she had a hidden desire and no thought of cheating on her man. Yeah, okay. Yeah, some people don't, Bree. Some people, men too. There's men right down there on Figueroa right now. The wife said, hey, go to the store and get some bread. And because they didn't have sex the night before or 2 nights before or a week before because the woman wasn't feeling well, the desire and the cravings for the release that they're looking for overtakes them, the brain power, and they decide to, you know what, on my way to the store, let me just pull over here, let a girl jump in the Jeep. We can knock this out real quick, and then I'm back at it. Nobody will know. She'll have her money. I'll have my release. Everything is good until it's a police officer, right? It was just they was running the sting down there in Florida. They just got the police chief they caught in the sting, right? The police chief, brother, they caught him in the sting. He's on administrative leave right now. The police chief was getting ready to pay an undercover officer $120 for some sex favors. See, this world is wicked, man. Anybody can get caught up. Anybody. So we have to stay connected. We got to stay plugged in my opinion. We got to stay plugged in. Let me hit Trey. Trey says, when you go away from or don't have the wisdom of a father who is connected to God, Delilahs will always win. Nah, bruh. We gonna get there, Trey. His father was like, hey. His father tried to tell him the first time. He was like, nah, man, I ain't having it. Right? Well, we're gonna get there, Trey. We're gonna get there. All right, let's get to 14, y'all. Any other questions? Any other statements before we move on?
No, we can get to 14.
Okay, let's get to 14. And Sampson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now, we could tell y'all could see now, back then, at this time in the Old Testament, everything related around the bloodlines. The bloodline. If you of this bloodline, you ain't supposed to mix with this bloodline. You could do business, but you can't adopt their ways. You have to stick with your ways of your bloodline. And really, they want you to stay with your bloodline. If you got to marry your cousin, you got to marry your second cousin, whatever, they want you to stick with your bloodline. Now, this is the Old Testament. Bloodline is very important, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now he's down there kicking it with the Philistines, with the daughters of the Philistines. Yikes. That was a no-go, y'all. That's what I'm trying to say.
Snow bunny crisis. It's a snow bunny crisis.
That was a no-go, right? Snow bunny crisis, as Dr. Umar would say, right? And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now, therefore, get her for me to wife. The father's like, what? Is you crazy? You know that chick is a Philistine, right? Right? You supposed to not be doing nothing unclean, right? They do unclean stuff. They ain't even circumcised, right? Then this father said to his mother then his father and his mother said unto him, is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren or among all my people that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistine? Yeah, man. You can't find a sister? You can't find a sister? What's the matter with you? And Sampson said unto his father, get her for me. She pleases me well, man. She got that long, good hair. Come on, no, she light-skinned it. Come on now. Pops, go get her. But his father, and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord, that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time, the Philistines had dominion over Israel, right? They didn't know that the Lord was trying to putting this situation together so that he could antagonize the Philistines and start some ish so that Samson could get started with his work, right? Then went Sampson down and his father and his mother to Timnath and came to the vineyards of Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared against him, right? And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, Sampson, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid, right? I mean, he's throwing this dude around. He ragdolling him. He ragdolling this lion.
Can I say something right there, Brother Clarence?
Yes, sir.
And I want you to notice this phrase that you're going to hear repeatedly. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him. So, as we peruse through the scripture and we see, we're going to see where this strength really comes from.
Yes.
But we get sidetracked when we get caught up in self. So I just want us to pay attention to that and notice how many times we hear that.
Okay. Arshawn?
No, I think that's an interesting point too. I thought it was, for me, what really caught my ear or eye was the fact that God was, and I'll say this is, I guess, indicative of the Old Testament entirely, how God used people that seem to have a lot of poor character traits, like consistently.
Yeah.
He almost seemed to select people with poor character to do the stuff he was doing. And like, because Sampson, we're gonna hear through the story, the stuff he would do with the Spirit, he would get the Holy Spirit and then go on a tirade. And it's like, man, that's what the Holy Spirit working in you to do. And I'm like, but we have a different conception of it now. Like now today, it's like, well, Holy Spirit come on you, you got to be doing something altruistic or benevolent. But the Holy Spirit was coming on him, and he going on like crusades. Right. He's chopping heads.
That was another point, that it's relative. His behavior was relative to what was acceptable at that time, right? At that time, revenge, you can vanquish your enemies, right? You doing it in the name of the Lord, right? But Arshawn step on my shoe, I can't go to Arshawn's house and smash bricks all through his car, right? Because we can't take the vengeance in our own hands today, right? They said an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, right? But who's supposed to do that? The state is supposed to do that at this point. Back then, they did it on their own. But at this point, after Jesus comes, the state, we can't have this anarchy. We got to have a body of people that supposedly are trying to do right, that takes that eye for an eye. So they'll give you the justice, not to take out the person's eye, but to put them in jail for a violation that they do. Or the state is supposed to do that at this point, right? So it's relative to the times. So we got to also understand that as we're reading too, right? All right, y'all, let's continue on because we got a lot to get to with Sampson. Okay, behold, a young lion roared against him, and the Spirit of the Lord mighty came on, and he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father or his mother what he had done, right? So he basically rips this lion apart right? With his bare hands. They didn't even know how strong he was, right? And he went down and talked to the woman, and she pleased Sampson well. And after a time, he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took thereof in his hands and went on eating. And he came to his father and mother, and he gave them, and they did eat. But he told them not that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. Why is he not telling his parents all this stuff? We got any thoughts on that? Like, why
Well,
is he hiding so much stuff from his parents?
Well, number one, I mean, when you think of a dead carcass of an animal, that's definitely not clean. You see what I'm saying? And whether bees have a hive and there's honey, it's still surrounded by filthy, nasty decay.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? So that's a question that I would have about this particular part of the passage myself. Now I heard one preacher say that, this is the first time that he broke his that Nazaritic vow that he had taken because he touched the dead carcass.
Right.
But if you read over there in Numbers, it's speaking of a body, like a human body. So you see, sometimes we get the scriptures kind of twisted around. So I guess some scholars say that this could be a point of where he violated his vow.
Maybe so. But the point is, he's doing things off the program now. This is little.
Yeah,
This is a little thing.
Yeah, he seems very bipolar at this point to me.
Right.
And more evident as we continue to read.
But my point is, well, what I mean, Arshawn, and you could explain what you mean, but I'm gonna say that when I say little, is that it's not having great effects right now, right? Just a little lie here, little non-disclosure here. These things are not having great impact. Shout out to Arshawn, not having a great impact at this point, but adding up, they will, in my opinion. But what do you mean, brother? What is your impression?
I see what you mean, like, because we don't have an immediate terrible outcome. Like, I think that's one of the problems that I would say is, like, right now today, like, people do stuff, and because they don't immediately see an outcome that's negative, we persist in that behavior and excuse it. Like, but that's, if he broke his Nazarite vows, that's a very big thing. Like, this is something that's God ordained pre-birth for you to be, and you're breaking it for some honey. Like, you're a sugar fixation. Your sweet tooth got the best of you to break your entire lifelong vow to God. Like, that's big. Like, there's nothing bigger than giving up the biggest thing you have for the smallest reward. Like, that's weird. Like, I mean, imagine up giving, a lot of people believe in eternal life. Imagine giving that up for a Snickers. Like, that's big. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. So, like, that's my issue.
It's like, what would you do for a Klondike bar?
Yeah. It's like, that's crazy to me. And then even the fact that he was already going against his parents and trying to get a foreign woman. He's get one of them strange women. That's so I don't think these were little. Like you said, the impact, it didn't change his life immediately, but I think these were big decisions. That's why they were included, because the Bible skips over a lot of the stuff and decisions he made, but it included these because I think these were big moments. I think the Bible only included big moments in his life, and these were big moments that don't seem important, but they were, or they wouldn't even
right.
In here.
In the totality of the situation, you could go back to this point. This is where we got started. This is where we started going off the reservation, right? And he had no problem doing it. That's another thing. He didn't confess it. He just did it, and he knew he wasn't supposed to mess with something like that, but he did it anyway because he wanted that honey. I'm hungry, right? His desire got to him. When I was talking about the woman that, where her desire got to him, like Sampson, he wasn't really in a situation where he would be that hungry. But then when the hunger came and it was that strong, he was willing to put aside his virtue to get what he wanted to get. That's what I was talking about, Bree. He willing to push his virtue to the side to get what he wants. Now, normally, if that situation had presented itself, he might not have done that. But that situation presented itself, and he took advantage. He took the opportunity to go ahead and take advantage of that situation to do what he knew he shouldn't do. And this is where the ball gets rolling. All right, y'all, here we go.
Last thing, can I say this one last thing real quick?
Of course, of course.
Can I also say this also shows, you brought up Umar, because I said the Snow Bunny crisis. He also has a problem, like a lack of respect or regard for his own people. And not just because he was looking at strange women, but because he was willing to violate his parents by giving them unclean food, knowing that's against, they're not Nazarites, but the fact that they were observing Jews, however you want to call them, Hebrews, Israelites, whatever, because they were observant, and he was willing to violate their covenant with God, because that was something that was determined in the old laws, which was unclean, and he was willing to put that on them without telling them. So He didn't have much regard for them, their relationship with God, his vow to God, and his chasing of foreign women. Like, he just did not care about anybody. Like that. That's there's a real problem there.
Right. So now we see this man who's supposed to deliver Israel from the hands of the Philistines. He has his own problems. We're starting to be shown that. Does that mean he can't no longer fulfill his function? No. Just mean he has issues, right? Just like all of us have issues. But did Sampson go to God? No, he eventually does. But does he go to God and say, I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for what I did to my people, my parents. I mean, he eventually, like you said, if you do it to your parents, you'll do it to your people, right? So you did it to your people. Anyway, any other questions? All right, let's move on, y'all, because we got to get to Sampson and Delilah. But now we're seeing that Sampson got a couple character flaws. And he went down and talked to the woman. She pleased him well. Whatever that means.
Well,
Vaughn, please, Vaughn. They didn't have the script clubs back then, Vaughn. So
I'm sure they did their dirt though. Now
maybe they was playing Tiddlywinks, Vaughn, and she pleased him.
However, she pleased him.
She pleased him. Hey man, she light skinned and had that good hair. Hey man, he was pleased. And after a time, he returned to take her and turned aside to see the cock. Oh, we read this. And he took thereof in his hands and went on eating and came to his father and mother and gave to them. And they did eat. Now, they didn't know he got this honey out of the carcass, right? But he told them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. Yikes. So his father went down unto the woman, and Sampson made there a feast, for so used the young men to do, right? So young men, they, before they get married, they make a feast and everything for the families to get together, right? Call it a reception now, right? And it came to pass when they saw him, they bought 30 companions to be with him, right? They saw Sampson, they said, "Oh my God, we better tool up," as they say in the streets, right? They brought 30 companions. And Sampson said unto them, "I will now put forth a riddle unto you. If ye can certainly declare me within the 7 days of the feast and find it out, then I will give you 30 sheets and 30 change of garments," right, for the 30 men. "But if you cannot declare it me, then ye shall give me 30 sheets and 30 change of garment." And they say unto him, "Put forth thy riddle that we may hear." I don't know why he decided he wanted to ask him a riddle, right? But he did, right? And he said unto them, "Out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound on the riddle." Why is Sampson asking the girl's family a riddle?
If you ask me, I think he's a gambler. Like I think
Yeah,
he's somebody that's prone to vices. Like
exactly.
women, like he would be. I would bet, even though it doesn't say it, that if they had drugs available, he dabbled in drugs.
Wow.
Like he had again the sweet tooth. He's willing to be unclean to get sugar. So like, I don't think he has the ability to resist like sensations. Like he's drawn to every kind of like sensational experience. So he's gambling. It's just fun for him. He's a thrill chaser.
Wait a minute, did I just hear you right?
And
Wait a minute, Vaughn. Did I hear you right, Arshawn? Did you just call Sampson a basehead?
I mean, if they had it, he would probably try it. If they had opium dens, he'd be in it. If they had weed shops, he'd be raiding them. Like he's just that guy. He's gonna get into everything that feels good. Every single
well,
thing.
you know, he was given to gambling. He liked to place bets, as you see, like he did with the riddle. You know what I'm saying? And some even speculate because this was what did they call this gathering that they had, Brother Clarence?
Reception, a feast.
Yeah. And so this particular feast lasted for several days.
Right.
And it is speculated that some believe that he did drink. You see what I'm saying? Just like Arshawn was saying, some speculate that he did drink. So now you have him touching the dead carcass of the lion, and then you have him in a situation where possibly he was given to drink. Now we can speculate that. You see what I'm saying? So that's two things. So that's two things going on there.
Now we're seeing another side of his character that might need an adjustment, right? The gambling, right? If you have the Lord, why do you need to gamble? If you have the Lord on your side, you don't need to gamble, right? You got the truest truth of truth on your side. What's the gamble about?
What was to make him look good? Yeah, it was to make him look good when they could not figure out the riddle. You see, to put him on top. You know, we get real fleshy and selfish like that. You know,
right.
And we think higher of ourselves than we should.
Right. So I agree. So Sampson probably looked at all of these people coming to the thing and said, "Oh, okay, they want to play. Okay, check this out. Let me." So a lot of times, y'all, we can get fixated on the strike back, right? Now, of course, instead of looking at the situation logically, of course, this is their girl, and she's going to marry somebody outside of their, religion or way of life, right? Of course, they're going to tool up to see who is this dude? What's he all about? What's going on with him, right? So, of course, they was going to tool up. But instead of Sampson saying to himself, of course, they're going to approach me like that. Of course, they're going to want to see. They care about this girl. They want to see what's going on with me. No, he got fixated on the strike back, and he decided to make a game out of the strike back. Sometimes we get caught up like that, y'all. Somebody could come to a class, your breath stink, right? And I get so caught up on the strike back, I'm going to strike them back because they make me feel bad. I decide to, I decide to dox them, right? Arshawn say, "Class, your breath stink." I'm a dox Arshawn.
I shouldn't have said it on stream. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Right? Class, your breath smells so bad. I could smell it from Cleveland, right? No,
it's coming through the camera.
So I got mad, right? I got mad and I said, "Oh man, I'm gonna get him back." Now I don't care how he said it. Is what he said true? That should be my first thinking process. Is what he said true? How he said it really doesn't matter, right? What matters is what he said true. Is that something I need to work on? Is that something I need to adjust? Right? But sometimes we don't, because we have such, and I'm talking about all of us, we have such points where we have such low self-esteem. We take any negative press as or constructive criticism as an assault, right? We don't think about it like, oh, well, is that true? Is there a possibility? Is that something that could be holding me back? So Sampson Sampson had a lot of issues, right? A lot of issues. So one of these issues is instead of him being focused on the truth, he was focused on vengeance, right? As we will see later, right? All right, and so he can never correct these things. That's the main point. He can never correct any of these things because he doesn't see them as problems. You see, that's how you're supposed to be. You do what you want to do. I got the Lord behind me. I can do what I want to do. How many times have we read that in the Bible and Quran where people used to say, hey, look, I'm of this group here. I can just do what I want because God said he with this group. Not so, not so. And it came to pass on the seventh day that they said unto Samson's wife, entice thy husband, that he may declare unto us the riddle, lest we burn thee and thy father's house with fire. Whoa, holy smokes. Have ye called us to take what we have? Is it not, is it not so? What's going on, gentlemen?
They thought they were getting hustled.
Well, basically, they wanted to use the wife to set him up. You see what I'm saying? You know,
Okay.
go and entice the husband so that we can get what this riddle means. You see what I'm saying? And so that's kind of what's going on here.
Okay. So my estimation is they try to go to Sampson. Samson's like, nah, step, I'm good. You figure it out. Since you guys want to roll up on me like a mob, okay, y'all figure it out then, right? So they knew they couldn't get through to Sampson, so they went to the wife and said, look, we're gonna burn your daddy's house down. If you don't move like we telling you to move, we're gonna burn your daddy's house down. We want the answer to that riddle, right? So they went to her and threatened her. So what was the point of threatening her?
It's to get her to move on that action, right?
Exactly. So she could put pressure on him to do their bidding to do what they've been asking him to do, right? They can't get to it, but they know she can. And they gave her a lot of motivation, right? Hey, we're going to burn your daddy's house down. You know what I mean? We ain't going to let this man that we don't know just come in here and beat us with this riddle and then make us have to pay. That's disrespect, right? As they say in the street, that's disrespect. We must put some spec on our name. We the Philistines. We don't roll like that. We're going to get you. We're going to get you. And Samson's wife wept before him and said, thou dost not hate me. Thou dost but hate me and lovest me not. See? What is this right here? It's called manipulation. Right?
and Brother Clarence,
guilt trip.
You know, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of him becoming Simpson instead of Samson.
No, you did just you did not
you
say
see what I'm saying? This is the beginning of him becoming Simpson instead of Samson.
Oh my God.
See, watch how the woman manipulates him. And it gets worse when he bounces to another one.
Oh my gosh. You just call Samson a simp.
He called him a simp.
It's gonna be more evident in the story.
Ladies and gentlemen, true believers and hardcore thumpers, that is Von Bryan acting on his own, calling Samson a simp. That does not reflect the people at Let's Talk About Black.
Shoot.
That's just one of us. That's not the
I was not expecting that one.
He had great strength, but he was a simpleton at times, right?
He was.
All right, y'all, 16. And Samson's wife wept before him and said, thou dost hate me and lovest me not. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and thou hast not told it to me. And he said unto her, behold, I have not told it to my father or my mother either. And shall I tell it to thee? Like, hey, you ain't above my mother and my father. I mean, you my wife and all that, but chill. You ain't, I ain't told them either. I ain't told nobody. Ain't nobody getting it until it's time to get it. And she wept before him in the 7 days, right? Giving this man stress, right?
Now, can I say something right here?
Of course.
You know, man, you know, so she cried before him for 7 days. Oh,
Yes.
please tell me, please, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? This is the pressure. You know, now you're under pressure because of the nagging. You know, I don't think me and my wife would have had the longevity that we have had successfully if she had been a nagger like that. You see what I'm saying? So
It
she
just
nags him for 7 days,
seven
and
days
he's not
straight.
able to, and he's not able to withstand it.
Hey,
You see
hey,
what I'm
Mark.
saying? But wait a minute, hold on. This is the man that tore apart the lions. Come on
Hey,
now.
hey,
You
hey,
see what
Mark.
I'm saying? This is
We're
a
at the
man of
beginning.
great strength physically.
We're at the beginning of the marriage. This ain't even like 5 years in, 10 years in. This is like at the beginning.
Yeah, this
It's giving you
engagement
a
part.
picture of what's going to happen down the road, right? Holy smokes! Anybody else? Any other comments?
Nah, it's a bunch of little stuff in here that's kind of interesting. Like I like to parse through, but like I really think the dynamics of the cultural exchange here is interesting because like he's throwing a party for their culture. Like so he's catering to the culture she came from. Like that's why the Bible's like, well, he's throwing a party like the young men used to do. Like,
Yeah,
but you didn't see the Israelites throwing these kind of parties. Like they didn't talk about this. So this was probably something for her culture that their young men would do. So he's catering to her. And so they invite a wedding party. You know, it's probably her people. So it's like that's probably why it's like when they're threatening her, that's probably why it has as much effect. Instead of her going to him like they're threatening me, these probably weren't strangers. These were probably people she cared about that are
right.
threatening her because they're invited to her wedding party. So when they're threatening her father, it carries some weight, enough weight for her to turn on her husband as opposed to turning on them. So
Yeah,
I mean, I thought there's like a bunch of little stuff like that in there that's interesting.
yeah. And but I we see that she started manipulating him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, who can blame her when they said they're gonna burn her father's house down, right? I mean, that's a lot of motivation to turn on your husband, turn on your wife. We're gonna burn your father's house down with him in it, right? That's the inference. With him and whether your mama and your father's in it or not, we're gonna burn it down, right? So she had motivation to be this way. So she wasn't just this way on purpose. I mean, she was a Philistine, but you know that didn't mean that she was like had no value system. She just had a different value system than the Israelites were supposed to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you
And we
blame
don't know that
her?
any of his people even came because his people might have been so like dead set on their faith, they wouldn't have participated in the pagan practices. So this whole 7 days, he might have been the only person there representing his family.
He might have, but no, his mother's father was there, I believe. But here's the thing: he could have said, "Girl, if they kill your father, then that was meant to be. That was what God. We rolling with God. So if God is he what he should have done is put God first, but he didn't do that. He's not doing that at this point. At this point, he's putting his own feelings first. Hey, I'm putting my feelings first. If I want to do something, I'm gonna just do it. Right? He ain't he ain't out here saying, "Hey, girl, let's pray to God and ask God to protect your parents." Because I said I was gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. I'm not deviating from that. But we're gonna see that didn't happen, did it? All right. And Samson's wife wept before him and said, don't say me, don't be done. Okay, I already did that part. And she wept for him for 7 days. Oh my God, Archon, you won't tell me the riddle. Oh, they're gonna burn my daddy's house down. So, right? While their feast lasted, and it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her because she lay sore upon him. I mean, man, she's just doing the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, man, the people, man, they went to Moses, man. They said, Moses, man, we didn't know all these tenderonis was running around out here, Moses. I don't want my wife no more. My wife old, she can barely walk, and you got all these tenderonis running around here. Yeah, but you're not supposed to divorce. Yeah, but we want a divorce, Moses. They just kept messing with Moses so much. Moses said, all right, just leave me alone. Here, go get this. Here's your divorce. Leave me alone. God told him, hey, man, I didn't sanction that. What's that? I got to sanction it now because you did it, but I didn't sanction that. Anyway, the wife is on him. You don't love me. You don't love me, Sampson. You don't love me. That's why I know you don't love me, Finn. It's like, oh, okay, let me tell you. And she told the riddle to the children of her people. And the men of the city said unto him on the seventh day before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? And he said unto them, if ye had not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle, my heifer.
Yeah.
And so now that's how we're going to refer to her, as that heifer.
Didn't we just get married? Can we
Now
just
she's
get
a heifer.
married? Already a heifer?
Yeah, can you imagine him saying that heifer?
Y'all know what a heifer is?
It's a cow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a female cow.
It's a female cow. But what particularly is a heifer? What kind of cow is a heifer?
I don't know. Further expound.
It's a female cow that don't give no milk, that doesn't produce no calves. It's just taking up space and eating taking up resources from other cows that could be doing something, right? That's what a heifer is, and basically worthless, and that's what he's calling her, a heifer.
After the fact, and he called her that after the fact that she betrayed him. You see what I'm saying?
Now he didn't even consider the fact that her family's, her daddy's house, they were threatening to burn her daddy's house down. He didn't consider that.
She probably didn't even tell him that. She might not even told him that.
Might not have told him that because that would have kicked something off, right? Who knows? The point is, he didn't even consider maybe there's a situation, maybe there's something insinuating why this woman is doing this. Maybe there's a circumstance why she keep doing this. She don't want to tell me. Here I am. I ain't telling people stuff about but I'm gonna judge her because she's telling stuff about me. I mean, she won't tell me stuff. Anyway, y'all, let's bring another brother in that might have some insight on this. Brother Bolo, are you with us?
Bolo.
Hey, brother Bolo.
I am. I might be going in and out right now, but how you guys doing? How the family doing? How's everybody doing?
Everybody
Doing okay, brother.
That's good.
You have anything you want to comment on where we at right now, brother?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring out, you guys have been doing a great job. Just the overall spirit that this is what happens when man tends to take things and do things on their own without the orchestration of God. Like you guys brought out, instead of shutting this woman down, he continued to let her go. And when we tend to fall victim to doing things our way, this is when things go awry. So instead of him doing what you said, right, let's pray to the Father. It is what it is. If the Lord wants the house to burn, it's going to burn. There's nothing I can do. I'm not going to go against what my Father says. We tend to entertain our own thought process and think that we could do it better than him. And this is where things go awry all the time. In most situations, this is where it goes awry when we take the morality of man and put that above the understanding of the Father. So that's all I got so far.
Yeah, we agree. We agree, and we're starting to see little chinks in the armor here, Bolo. You know what I mean? We thought Sampson was this great dude, and he has all this strength, but we're starting to see, man, got a couple character flaws here. Man, got a couple things he might need to work on, right?
Well, keep in mind too that it's easy. we tend to inject ourselves into the scriptures, right? Because again, like Arshawn said, this was a different thought process of how these men and women were moving. It's a total different time, different place. However, what you have to understand too is we all have that in us. How many times have we didn't want to do something and our wives or girlfriend nagged you enough to the point where you said, all right, man, we all done that. All of us have done that. You know, maybe not to the point of where he did it, but we've
Right.
all fallen victim. Even though don't want to do it, but your wife will nag you. You don't want to go to your mother and father-in-law's house because every time you go there, there's an argument that ensues. So the best thing for you to do is to stay away, but she wants you to go, and she nags you and starts crying. And what do? As a husband, you don't want to see your woman cry.
Of course.
So what do? You go. And what happens? You get into an argument. And what do you do when that emotional thing flies past? You say, man, next time I'm not doing it. So a lot of the times, you know, and I always make this reference, I always refer Batman being the most strongest of the super friends. Why? Because Batman knows how to separate logic from emotions. It doesn't mean that he's not human. It doesn't mean that he doesn't feel, but he weighs the option no matter how much emotionally he might be attached to something. The logic is what he grapples with. You know, he has to make this decision, but he uses emotion to it because if he didn't, he wouldn't be human. So we have to start leaning on more what the Father would do. Because here's the thing. If the Father would talk to us, because a lot of the times we get caught up in our emotions. This is why men move the way they move and why women move the way they move. Because they have trauma, they have all this, you know, all these different experiences that they've gone through that they haven't unpacked. Now, here's the thing. If God would come to your woman or come to you and say, nah, we ain't doing this, there's no argument. No argument at all. You'll be like, okay. But when you take it off him and you put it on man, this is where the arguments start. This is where the lack of discipline comes in. And again, we all have it in us. So we need to start looking at it through the vision of the Lord opposed to the eyes of man.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying, Bolo. We just get started. Just get started finding out that, hey, Sampson got a couple of things he need to work on. Who's going to approach him with it? Who's going to step to him and say, hey, no link now, Pagoda. We're going to get to it later. Who's going to approach Sampson and say, hey, bruh, that gambling, maybe you might want to not get with that. And maybe you might want to do something about that temper of yours. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you got a couple of things. Maybe you might want to. Who's going to do that? His father can't even talk to him. What's happening? Anyway, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out, gentlemen. Let's move on, because now we really gonna get into it now. All these things are gonna really start costing Sampson. Hey, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, Sampson, and he went down to Ashkelon and slew 30 men of them, and took their spoil and gave change of garments unto them which expounded the riddle. And his anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. Right? So what's happening here? Right? Sampson.
He snapped.
Okay. So but what he snapped. But what's going on though, Arshawn? What?
Well, it looks to me like the plan to overtake the Philistines is beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? He slew 30 men, 30 of them.
Okay.
Didn't he come there to do that?
Well, he came there
If I'm not mistaken.
I think he came there to start something with them, but he slew them just because he had to pay those other men the 30 changes of clothes that he didn't have.
Oh, yeah, I get that part, Brother Clarence. But I'm just saying, looking into it as at the whole plan of what God is trying to do in terms of these Philistines. You see what I'm saying? He's basically there to wipe them out. Am I correct?
He's there to get it started. He's there to get the ball rolling.
Okay, good. If we switch to the end of the story, he kind of wipes them out, right?
Everybody that was at the location, yeah,
Right, which was quite a few. Which was quite a few.
Yeah, thousands.
Right. So, but that doesn't particularly end the conflict. It just,
Right.
gets the ball.
Gets the ball right.
Makes the people that were making all the decisions to how to oppress Israel. You got rid of those people. So now the opportunity to step out of that oppression is there.
And the way that he fulfilled his end of the bet, is he slew them in order to pay them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying, Brother Clarence?
Right. See, is this any different than a mob personality that sits down at a card table, loses $40,000? They go out on the street and they start shaking down business owners for the money. Is there any difference there? Because they need that $40,000 to pay off their debt. They just go shake down business owners.
It's definitely thuggish.
Thuggish, ruggish, right?
And
Samson not only shook them down, Sampson slew him. He ain't nothing but a Philistine anyway.
Definitely, he was definitely very vindictive, in his actions.
Good point.
He was one to seek revenge.
Yeah,
and he didn't mind doing it at all.
That's my point. Go ahead.
Man, I only ask this. I want to interject this because you call revenge and vindictive. He didn't even kill the people that he lost to the bet to. So we don't even know if these were innocent people or not. These could have been 30 random citizens.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Exactly.
Innocent.
Even
and
if
then
they weren't.
Here's the trouble I have with this particular passage too, is the Spirit of the Lord came upon him to go and do this.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to differentiate between now. Hold on, because I'm kind of stuck right here at 19. Is what he did proper? That the Spirit of the Lord came upon him to do it. What would be your take on that, Brother Clarence?
Well, like you were saying, Vaughn, he had a job to do, which is to kick this thing off. So maybe the Spirit of the Lord said, "Okay, I'll take this opportunity
to allow him to do it that way."
Yeah, because he's got that type of spirit. See, if Jesus would never do nothing like this, because he don't have that type of spirit. Right. So, but this man has this type of spirit, and we can get this thing kicked off.
And that's why I thought that this was the beginning of his fulfillment of this assignment, because he is definitely on an assignment, even though he stumbles and you see what I'm saying, falls along the way.
So he took their stuff from them, right? So when you do what he did to this group of men, there are going to be people that want to avenge that, right? But Sampson's anger was kindled. Why are you angry? You won. But he's so mad that he succumbed to his wife, and then his wife was able to tell those other people the riddle. They beat him, and then he went to his father's house. See, it don't show, man, Sampson was remorseful for what he did. Nah, he was pissed. Right? I did all this work, and I got to give all this stuff to these other people. Right? So he went to his father's house, and we don't know what happened there. But Sampson's wife was given to his companion. Okay, so now while he was gone doing this dirt, somebody gave his wife to one of his companions. Uh-oh. How many of you guys that's married want your wife to go to your companion?
Well, listen, none of us, but in these circumstances, based upon what she had done and how she had portrayed him, why wouldn't the father feel like, well, hey, he doesn't want her anymore. Let me give her to another. How could he possibly want her?
Yeah, called her a heifer, right?
Yeah, they called her names, and you see what I'm saying? And the fact that she portrayed him in the way that she did,
Right.
The father was probably under the assumption that, hey, He doesn't want her anymore.
He
So
don't
let
want
me
my
give
baby.
her to one of his close buddies.
Yeah, and he ain't even a Philistine. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So, he probably don't, right? My guess, now this is just me, y'all. Y'all tell me what y'all think. My best guess is calling somebody a heifer at that time was like in today's time, calling somebody a biatch, right?
Mhm.
That's probably what he's
Probably.
saying, right?
Yeah, they were definitely probably fighting words, right?
Right. So the father was like, man, that's some strong language. I can't give my baby to him. He's gone. Let me give her to one of his companions.
But
But
not
it
even
came,
just that. He wouldn't kill 30 people and brought their clothes back, which means they probably weren't clean clothes. He probably brought bloody clothes back to pay
right,
that debt off. So like he probably didn't think this guy's coming around anyway. Samson goes off, kills 30 people, brings their clothes back, probably bloody, and then leaves and goes to his father's house. Now he probably didn't think this guy was coming back. Like he's gonna get killed. He's gonna get arrested and killed.
right. But what kind of man is this? What
Right.
kind of man is this that would just to pay off a debt would go and kill 30 of their brothers? I'm gonna kill 30 of your family told me they won the riddle. I'm gonna go kill 30 of their brethren and give you
Right.
their clothes. Basically,
Well,
you're winning the bet cost these people their lives. I'm gonna put that on you.
right.
And if you wear those clothes, you participating in this. What do you think, Arshawn?
Nah, man, it's just a lot.
It's so much to unpack. This is like
Yeah, it's a lot.
a Tyler Perry movie, or you see what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so much going on, so much
Worse.
up and down and everywhere, and you see what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. The whole story
We
is
ain't even gotten
crazy.
to the rough. We ain't even gotten to the rough stuff yet, y'all. We ain't even gotten to the rough stuff. We just getting a look at Sampson's character. But it came to pass within a while after, in a time of wheat harvest, that Sampson visited his wife with a kid, right? So he brought some food in. Hey, I've been gone, but hey, I got a snack. I brought some burritos, right? The burritos. And he said,
He's dark.
I will go in to my wife into the chamber, but her father would not suffer him to go in. Hey, bruh, we thought you was gone. So we made some moves. That ain't really your
Exactly.
wife no more, right? And her father said, I verily thought that thou hast utterly hated her. Therefore I gave her to thy companion. Is not her younger sister fairer than she? Now he trying to negotiate. Hey, get the younger sister, man. You don't really want this chick. Get the younger sister. Take her. I pray thee instead of her. Right? Take the younger sister. And Samson said concerning them, now shall I be more blameless than the Philistines, though I do them displeasure. Right? Like, oh, hey, wait a minute. I I didn't realize what I was doing, right? He realizes now, man, hey, I got all upset and I did all, and I said and did all this stuff. I kind of was the one that caused this whole thing to kick off, right? And Sampson went to and caught 300 foxes. 300 foxes. You know how much time it take to catch one fox? The man caught 300 foxes, right? And took firebrands and turned tail to tail and put a firebrand in the midst of between the two tails. And when he had set the brands on fire, he let them go into the standing corn of the Philistines. Yikes! And burnt up
Burn down the whole crop.
both the shocks and also the standing corn and the vineyards and olives. So basically, he just killed their whole harvest, right? Right? Because you put you tie two foxes together and you put a fire on a piece of rope behind them and let them run. They trying to run away from that fire, but meanwhile they're going to be putting that fire on everything they touch, right?
Exactly.
All right. All right. So then the Philistines said, "Who hath done this?" And they answered, "Samson." the son-in-law of the Timnite, because he had taken his wife and given her to his companion. And the Philistines came up and burnt her and her father with fire. So in retaliation for Samson burning up their crops, they took his wife and his father and just lit them up. Flame on, right? Not a nice way to go. And especially behind somebody else. It's like you didn't even earn this yourself. This is behind somebody else. And Sampson said unto them, though ye have done this, yet I will be avenged of you, and after that I will cease. So Samson saying right now, okay, no problem. I'm going to get y'all. Just a matter of time, right? And he smote them hip and thigh with a great slaughter. And he went down and dwelt in top of the rock of Etam. Then the Philistines went up and pitched in Judah and spread themselves in Lehi. Right? That means the posse's coming looking for him, right? The posse's coming for Samson, right? And the men of Judah said, why are ye come up against us? And they answered, to bind Samson are we come up, to do to him as he hath done to us. Then, okay, watch this, y'all. Watch this. 3,000 men of Judah went to the top of a rock, Etam, and said to Samson, knowest thou not that the Philistines are rulers over us? What is this that thou hast done unto us? And he said to them, as they did unto me, so I have done unto them, right? So it's basically Hatfields and McCoys, right? Nobody's at fault. Everybody's got a justified reason for this foolishness, right? So far. All right. And they said unto him, we are come down to bind thee, that we may deliver thee into the hands of the Philistines, right? Right. And Samson said unto them, swear unto me that ye will not fall upon me yourselves. Like, not y'all. Come on, man.
Now these are his people, right?
No, these are the are these his people?
These are his
those
people.
Of Judah. Yeah, those are the people from Judah.
Right. So those are his people.
Okay, these are his people. Okay. So he's like, hey man, don't do me like that.
Yeah.
He said, let them come and do it. Let them do their dirty work themselves, right? And Samson said, swear to me that you will not fall upon me yourselves. And they spake him, saying, no, but we will bind thee fast and deliver thee unto their hand, but surely we will not kill thee. And they bound him with 2 new cords and brought him up from the rock. And when he came into Lehi, the Philistines shouted against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and with the cords that were upon his arms became as flax that was burnt with fire, and his bands loosened from off his hands. And he found a new. Okay.
Can I jump in on something?
Of course.
Something just came to my mind. Like, he went back to his father after he killed those people. Now, he has poor character, so he might not have told his father what he did. But at some point, because they had a whole seasonal change, because he said after the harvest and after some time, so they had a whole seasonal change, and the news probably got back to his dad at some point, his dad and his mother, about what he had done. So they know that their son is a killer.
Okay.
It takes the community to go and capture this guy to turn him in.
Isn't that something?
Like, because the parent, because we have that problem. Like we were talking about, like bringing this to the community. We have that problem now with violent sons, and the parents will let them like take harbor there while they're out there terrorizing the community or other communities. But it's like, when are we as a community going to take that responsibility? Like, look, we got to go get these guys because they're wreaking too much havoc. But we got to go do something. Like, when are we going to do that?
Yeah, because of that, no snitch policy that we hold so dear, right? Somebody could be getting murdered or deleted right across the street from your bedroom window, but we won't open our mouths and say anything, right? Because of the no snitch policy, you see? And everybody lets people get away with crime without reporting it.
Okay. Brother Bolo.
Yeah, I keep coming in and out, so I'm sorry about that.
Sorry, man.
I just, I lost you guys when we were dealing with verse 19. Verse 19. And I heard a little bit about what Vaughn was saying when he was like, I'm caught up on that. When you're talking about Judges 19, when it says the Spirit of the Lord fell on him, right? What's the context and what that means is strength fell on him. Brother Vaughn, that's what it meant. The strength of the Lord.
Yeah.
The strength, and the strength that he has, not meaning that he had orders from the Lord to go kill these dudes, but courage and that zeal.
Yeah, his gift, in other words, kicked in.
There you go. That's what that means. So
yeah, I get it.
A lot of the times, sometimes, because again, what we have to understand, the Lord does what he does, right? And he'll use whoever he'll use to do whatever he wants to do. And sometimes he would use other nations that were off to judge Israel, right? To put Israel back in order. And sometimes he would use Israel to put other nations in order that were wrong. And sometimes, what we have to understand is crazy. It's like if you're watching a television show. So let's say if all four of us were in a television show, right? And the third season, it starts with Arshawn, and it's showing you Arshawn's story. That doesn't mean that Brother Clarence, Von Bryant, and Bolo don't have a story. They're just right now dealing with Arshawn's story, and we're going through whatever we're going through, and they'll catch up with us maybe on the third episode or the fourth episode pertaining to what we were going through at the same time when they were paying attention to Arshawn. So a lot of the times when these nations would be bugging out, the Lord right now is focusing on Sampson, dealing with what he's dealing with. You know what I'm saying? But these cats is tripping. And then at that point, he'll just say, yo, go do this. Not that this is a situation where he did that, but just in overall, a lot of the times where, people will say, well, why did the Lord allow these guys to fall on these guys or these guys to fall on these? Because you don't know what's going on in the background and how they're disobeying. And the Lord, that he's multitasking at the same time. So
exactly.
Definitely. All right, y'all. If there's no other comments, we're gonna move on. Okay. So he came to lay out the Philistines, shouted against him. Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him. That usually means when I see that, I see a can of a whoop coming, right? It's just like that's what it usually means, right? All right, so and the cords that were upon his arm became as flax burnt with fire, and the bands loosened from off his hands, right? So they tied him up, but the Lord touched him again, and his strength was strengthened, and bam, he just broke loose, right? And he found a new jawbone of an ass and put forth his hand and took it and slew 1,000 men therewith. 1,000 of them, right?
That's a lot. That's a lot of men.
That's a lot of men, man. That's a lot of people. And with one jawbone, that's a lot.
And as they would say, Brother Clarence, that's a lot of whoop ass right there.
That's a lot of whoop ass, man. I would leave Sampson alone if I was them. And Sampson said, with the jawbone of an ass, heaps upon heaps, with the jaw of an ass have I slain 1,000 men. He's like, man, look at me. Look at me. I got it going on.
And now you're boastful. You're braggadocious.
Well, you forgot about the one that made it possible for you.
That's right. When we go back to the part that said, and the Spirit of the Lord.
Yeah. Who gave you the strength and who gave you the jawbone to have in the first place? Yeah. See, now this is a good point here. This is showing that we could lose focus, even though you of the Lord and you believe in the Lord, and I've been sanctified, saved, sanctified, and holy, right? Anybody could trip. Anybody could trip. That's why we always got to keep going back and checking ourselves, right? Because any one of us could trip at any time, right? That's the point. That's the point. Don't think you so high and mighty that you can't trip. Oh, I ain't tripping. I'm
and fall.
Yeah. I'm Bolo TV. I can't trip. I
could trip, brother.
Listen, I can trip and have tripped.
That's a good point. And that's a very good point. You know, cats think that just because the Lord uses them, that it omits the traits of the sin that we have in us.
A good point. Both of you guys.
Exactly. You know, and the scripture talks about also that, you know, for those of us who think that they're in right standing or stand well, take heed lest you fall.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Here's a very important point that's so important. Right now, we're reading Exodus, right? We're about to finish it next week. Okay. When you look at the relationship that Moses had with God, it's crazy. Right. It's crazy. The relationship, that the way they would talk to each other, it's crazy, man. And it got to the point where, you know, that when Moses would leave the Father, people couldn't look at him straight because of the glory, because of the light, because of his glory. It would rub off on Moses.
Right.
And being that close to the Father, he still tripped up.
Yeah.
How much more us?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's all. That's my point, Bolo. How much more? I mean, if he was connected like that,
absolutely.
Shouldn't we? We should be over. We should be
very mindful.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I mean, that's why the Muslims were told, no, don't pray one time, don't pray 2 times, don't pray 3 times, don't pray 4 times, pray at least 5 times a day.
Yeah, you
should be praying at least 5. Now, the rest of us that really connected, we know we pray more than 5 times. Oh God, help. You know, we just pray for everything, right? Because we get into the habit of doing it. We get into the habit, and the closer we come to the Father, the closer His Spirit comes to us and guides us. Mm-hmm. This is my point. But if we stay away from the Spirit, I know what I'm doing, right? Like Sampson, I'm good, B. I know what I'm doing.
Well, the same thing that we read before with David. Instead of David backtracking, he went further in. And again, that doesn't mean that we all don't fall victim to it. We do. And a lot of the times, you know why we fall victim, and you know, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong and tell me your opinion. It's at that moment the lack of faith.
Agree.
At that moment, it's the lack of faith. At that moment, it could be your frustration, because lack of faith comes in many different forms. It doesn't just come in you saying, I don't believe in the Father, right? It comes in, you know, you can just say, nah, I'm doing it my way, man. I'm tired of waiting on the Lord. I'm tired of doing it.
Most people.
Most people. I'm tired of waiting. I'm getting hurt too much. I'm doing this. When is it going to be my time?
Agreed.
I see all of the wicked people living, and the scriptures address that too. I see all the people living life, and here it is, man. I'm struggling. The Lord tells you, don't worry about them. Run your race.
Exactly.
You know, run your race. And that's what, and a lot of the times with the, you know, there's a good movie that you guys should watch. It's called They.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Right.
Crazy movie.
Right. And the first season, there's a part of it, I believe it's episode 8 or episode 9 of the first season, where the devil says that, you know how I'm going to get to these people? Through their broken heart, through their emotions. Because your emotions are so strong. And the first thing that we get when we're young is what? Our emotions. When you separate ourselves from God, and then you double down on it and take the Father out of the home that is supposed to be that pillar of leadership, covering, so forth and so on, the example of what the Father is. When you take that out, what rules? Your emotion. When you have these young men that grow up and they're told in our communities, the Black and Latino communities and Native communities, that, you know, if you go and seek help, you're weak, you're broken, you're a sucker, you're a punk, you're not a man. And we hold on to these pains and we heal wrong. We are susceptible to that doorway being open, and that young man that was hurt takes over your logic. You ever hear a young man when you're trying to talk to him? No, I don't want to hear none of that, man. I don't want to hear none of that. That's what it is. So, when we're far from the Father, and then you try to, and this is why it's so hard to interject the Father now into grown men. Because now you have to sit down and deal with the pain that they've gone through, the trauma, these grown women, the pain, the trauma, the hurt, the bad decisions that they've made. You have to be patient, and it's done by design, because the Lord was patient with you. When you made the bad decisions, when you decided to walk left and decided to do what you wanted to do. So who am I not to have the same patience with my brother or my sister? So it's a heavy thing, because at the same time, he always wants us to look at ourselves in that man or that woman. Don't ever think that you're better than them. You're not.
Exactly.
That's the thing. So all of us, man, we gotta stay connected. We'll go to say, you talk about Jewish hero from the Jewish Bible, and I'm not on your show yet. Strange, isn't it? Huh? We haven't said nothing about nobody Jewish yet. Talked about the Israel, but we haven't talked about nobody Jewish yet. So hold your horses. We're going to hold your horses. All right, so let's get back to this.
I think we're at 17.
17. Yes,
and I'd like to.
I'm gonna try to hurry up.
Go ahead.
Sean has to make a run, so we want to get his opinion on as much as we can before he leaves. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking, that he cast away the jawbone out of his hand and called that place Ramathalai. Right?
Now, can I say something about that particular scripture?
Yes.
Yeah. So, anytime you can, and basically the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. You see what I'm saying? It must have been upon that jawbone of that ass too. See what I'm saying? But when he was done with it, it said he threw it away. And us in modern day times, what we like to do is we like to hold on to stuff if it worked real well. You see what I'm saying? We like to market it and package it and and do all kind of different things. But it said that he threw it out because it was no more good. It served its purpose already. You see what I'm saying? Okay. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay. Now let me ask you guys, 16 and 17. All this that Sampson is saying, what is not being said?
I don't know. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, thank you, Lord, for blessing me to have this victory over my enemies.
Well, in other words, it's the Lord. It's the Lord's doing, and it's marvelous in my eyes.
Yes, thank you, Lord.
We didn't get none of that. We don't. Well,
providing the jawbone.
Yeah, exactly.
Lord, for letting your Spirit touch me so that I could prevail over these people. None of that, right? So we're starting to see Sampson slipping. He's slipping.
Yeah,
right.
He's slipping and simping.
He's slipping and simping. We ain't got to the simping yet, Vaughn. Just a little simping. We gonna get to the big simping in a minute, right? And he was sore artist.
Big simping.
He was a sore artist and called on the Lord and said, "Thou hast given great deliverance into the hand of thy servant." Okay, here we go. And now shall I die of thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised. So he's not even saying, hey, look, thank you for whatever happens after this, I'm cool. Thank you for doing what you did. He's like, man, hey, I won that, and now I'm gonna be thirsty. That's how I'm gonna die. Oh man, come on. Really? But God's suffering this dude. Okay, I'm gonna suffer this cat because he got a job to do. I want him to do his job. But God clave in a hollow place, and there was a jar, and there came out of it water thereout. And when he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he revived. Wherefore he called the name thereof Enhokor, which is in Lahad unto this day. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. Right?
20 years.
20 years he was on his post, right? He wasn't the best guy, but he was the guy. Okay, here we go. Here's where it gets, like they say in the streets, on and popping. All right. Then Sampson went to Gaza. Shout out to Israel. Shout out to Brother Vagoda. And saw there a harlot and went in unto her. Right? His wife is dead. He's a widower. So he goes into this, he finds this harlot and he said, hey, look, I don't need no wife. I just need your lower parts for just a few minutes. What is the price? Right? It's a harlot. So that means there's a price you're going to have to pay. Right? And it was told to anybody got a comment?
Yeah, well, this part right here is, it puts me into mind to make me understand that just because you have certain gifts and talents, from God, that you can still operate in those gifts and still be a mess. I mean, messy mess, man.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now here you have Sampson who is going way off track.
Man,
but the Spirit of the Lord, it continues to come upon him.
Yeah.
And he keeps digging a deeper hole for himself. Isn't that amazing? And when we look at some of our modern day preachers, they are very similar to the situation of Sampson. They're digging a hole, and some of them are great orators, by the way. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Got good information, can dissect the word and divide that word and open it up and make it make sense. And that anointing is upon them, but their lives are sloppy.
Man.
You see what I'm saying?
Terrible.
And so, I mean, it's kind of like he's going against his vow of being a Nazarite. Like I said, if you look at Numbers, it will give you a descriptive definition of what that vow entailed. And when you think of Samson's actions, man, definitely he has totally gone against many of those. He touched the dead carcass. And then some speculate that even during that feast, he may have drank a little bit of wine. You see?
Right.
And so now there's only one other thing left now. So let's keep reading.
All right, let's keep reading. Because we got a lot to get to, y'all. All right, let's see. Here we go. And it was told to the Gazatites, saying, Samson is come hither. And they compassed him in and laid wait for him all night in the gate. Okay, so compassed, that means they surrounded him. They surrounded him and they laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city. And were quiet all night, saying, in the morning when it is day, we shall kill him. Right? So another little sliver of the Philistines, they're like, hey, dude is here. Let's get him. And Sampson lay till midnight and arose at midnight and took, because he's with this harlot, right? He thinking, I'm going to just slip in and slip out. Okay. And Sampson lay until midnight and arose at midnight and took the doors of the gate of the city and the two posts and went away with them. Dang. Bar and all, and put them upon his shoulders and carried them up to the top of a hill that is before Hebron. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman. I mean, they saw him do that. They said, hell to the gnaw. We ain't effing with him. Hells to the gnaw. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. Here we go, y'all. Strap in.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been waiting for this moment. Strap in. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her and said unto her, entice him, and we see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. Okay, gentlemen, what is going on here?
Well, they're planning to set him up.
Okay.
They're planning to set him up, and it's very evident in the scripture, you know, and there's a way behind the setting him up, you know. And we keep hearing this word bind. You see what I'm saying? That's what the enemy comes to do. He comes to bind, he comes to blind, and then as we see how he ends up later on in the story, how he had to grind. You see what I'm saying? The enemy comes to like sift you like wheat. And that's his plan for all of us. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's to steal, kill, and destroy everything that's in its path. So yeah, they're trying to set him up right here, you know. And of course, who are they going to use to do this?
Of course, who are they going to use?
Well, they're going to use Delilah. See, because you know she loves to deny. See what I'm. So let's keep reading. It's going to get interesting.
Well, let me get Arshawn's take on it. Arshawn, what do you think, man? What's going on here?
Oh no, y'all spoke on it. I mean, listen, I think we need to get into Delilah because I mean that little setup. Only thing I would say is I think it's important to note that he's killed 1,030 people based upon the tally at this point that we know of. Because I mean, he set he set all the whole harvest on fire with those 200 foxes. That's a lot of foxes. That's a lot of fire.
Right.
So we don't know how many people might have died in that. Right. So he's killed at least 1,030 people that were tallied up to this point. His name is known because there's 5 major Philistine cities. All 5 of the leaders of the 5 major cities. I'm not sure how many cities are popular in each year where you guys live. I know Cali has at least 5 big cities. Yeah. Imagine the 5 mayors coming together to talk to your woman. Like that's crazy.
Right.
To set you up. That's a big deal. So he was known. And that something hadn't been done because again, there were 3,000 Judeans that came together to turn him in. That means if they're under the oppression of the Philistines would have had such a greater force that even 3,000 was just to feel comfortable. Right. So why hadn't the Philistines done something at this point? Why hadn't they done something like very specific about this guy? So I mean, it's interesting thinking about like why is he just roaming around freely? If the 5 mayors, if the 5 leaders, if the 5 kings, whatever you want to say, if all 5 of them know about this guy, why is he roaming around free? If even 3,000 people on Judah's side is just enough to make them feel safe to turn him in, like how many Philistines could they have mustered to kill this guy? So there's something for me that's like I would have to hear more or know more, but it's interesting.
Do you think that possibly could have just been intimidated? I mean, because nobody could whip it.
Same thing, I'm thinking the same thing. They probably just scared.
Yeah, nobody who could whip him. You know.
I mean, but at that point, then you're not oppressed. Like if you have this guy that the entire country of your oppressors is afraid of, then there's something off with the facts here.
You should be free. Yeah. And it's interesting. It's interesting that throughout the process, if you notice, Sampson never gathered an army for himself. Yeah.
And they had
see what I'm saying? And exactly. But see, sometimes when we feel like we are self-sufficient all the time, you see what I'm saying? We kind of miss the mark a bit, you see, because we think we can do it all ourselves, you see. Yeah. And I noticed that in the story, he never assembled any type of armies to come up against these Philistines, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So then the only thing it makes me think of, because I use the Bible, because it makes me think about being black quite a bit. When I look at the history of like the Hebrews, it reminds me of blackness because you can become so comfortable with the things that are attractive and beautiful and comfortable among the people who would have enslaved you that you don't consider yourself enslaved. You can just be so comfortable there and you can be allowed to marry their women. And I mean, but again, it can still be a place of hostility towards you, even if it's like not necessarily like overt. It could be just like, because again, they don't really, you can tell like different things with saying there's hostility towards each other. The camps don't really get along, but they're allowed to intermingle. They're allowed to intermarry. So there's some kind of cultural difference, but they're allowed to still, just deal with each other. And there's something attractive because Sampson keeps finding himself over there. Sampson keeps going against his rules, going against his faith. So it just reminds me of that dynamic, because a lot of like pro-black people will still enter. They're like, we're anti-capitalism, but we'll be practicing capitalism. We're anti this, but we'll practice that. And it just reminds me of that same dynamic.
All right, y'all. It's about to get ugly. It's about to get ugly. Put your hats on, gang. It's about to get. You about to see some big simping, and it's gonna cost the man. It's gonna cost the man. All right. So what's happening? Like Arshawn was saying, good analogy. All the mayors got together and said, check this out. We got to get away. We got to get rid of old boy. He's the thorn in our side. We got it good until he came, and now he came, and now he's just causing all kind of problems. So we got to get rid of old boy. What can we do? Oh, okay. Well, he liked this girl. He liked this girl, Delilah. Let's talk to her. Okay, so they go up to talk to Delilah, and they say, hey, look. They offer her the one thing that you can offer almost any harlot, and that's money to motivate them to do stuff, right? So they say, hey, look, we'll give you all this money if you get this job done. So she said, hey, I'm with it. It's done. Go get the money and get it together, because I'm gonna get this job done. And Delilah said to Sampson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee, right? Tell me your weakness. Why you want to know my weakness? I don't even know you, girl. Tell me where you weak at. Tell me how you got your great strength, right? That's the first pass, right? Sampson said unto her, if they bind me with 7 green whips that are never dried, then I'll be weak and be as another man. Right? He thought she was just playing, right? Then the Lord of the Philistine brought her up to her 7 green whips that had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now there were men lying in wait, right? Just people lying in wait, they're gonna jump on him when he can't move, right? With her in the chamber. And she said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Sampson. And he broke the width, and as a thread of tow is broken when touched by the fire. So his strength was not known, right? So the men never stepped out. But Sampson thought, oh, she just playing. She just doing this. Because why would he entertain her further? If he knew that the men was waiting and she was trying to kill him, he would have just bounced, right? A normal person would just bounce. All right. And Delilah said unto Sampson, behold, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, what we got going on here? Manipulation, right?
Same thing.
We're manipulating him, right? Hey, you mocked me. You mocked me. You didn't even tell me how I could make you weak. Why would I want to tell you how I make me weak? Why would you want to know that? Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound, right? She acting like they out of relationship, right? She like, hey, what's going on, man? I'm your girl. You supposed to be telling me your innermost secrets. She trying to make him think that he's mocking the relationship. But they ain't got no relationship. Right? You just F buddies. Basically, right? All right. And Delilah said unto him, they'll mock me, bound, right? And he said unto her, if they bind me fast with new ropes that had never been occupied, then shall I be weak and as another man. Delilah therefore took new ropes and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Sampson. And there were liars in wait in the chamber, and he broke them from his arms like a thread, right? So he still don't know that they're out there trying to get him, right? He thought she just
can
played.
I just say something?
Yes.
Can I interject right here? You know, it's awfully strange that a man sleeps so hard. You know, what it is about this deep sleep that he's in, where you don't understand that you don't hear sound. See, me, when I lay down and go to sleep, I can hear everything creaking. You see what I'm saying? But this deep sleep that Sampson often went into, it amazes me. You know, I wonder if he was just really awake and just trying to, you know, play games. You see what I'm saying? But I find it strange that you would sleep that deeply for someone to bind you and play in your hair and do all kind of different things. You know, that would wake me up right away.
This is the part. I don't think he saw her as a threat. I think he saw her as just a wily woman. She just wanted to know these things. I don't think he thought of her as a threat to his safety at this point. I don't think he really thought that.
Well, okay, so Brother Clarence, this is number two. You know, okay. You tricked me the first time. How did they say it? You know, shame on me or shame on you. You know, but around the second time, come on now, hold on. You know, I got to look with my third eye now, or at least sleep with one eye open.
Well, we gotta look at it. We gotta see what's not being said here. She's obviously being very generous with the cookie at the same time. This pillow talking right here, right?
Well, see, that's what puts a lot of us to sleep. So let's talk about that.
Is that right? So this is pillow talking that he's doing, right?
Yeah,
you know how I do. Everything's going good in the relationship. He got a new woman. Everything's going good. All of a sudden, you know, he's done, right? She ghosts him, right? Because you pillow talking. Yeah, well, I just got out the pen because, you know, I had a murder, but they reduced it from life to 30 years, and I had already did 15. And so they, I was up for parole, and I got parole. Ain't that great, girl? Girl say, yeah, that's great. Next time you try to call her, well, she said that's great while they laying there in the bed. But as soon as she leave, and she changed the locks and changed everything, right? She changed the numbers. Say, hey, I want to do this, been in prison, right? Because sometimes we talk too much. When we pillow talking, we talk too much, especially us as men, right? What do women say this kind of stuff all the time, right? Tell me about your last girlfriend. I promise I won't get mad, right? That is a lie from the pits of hell. Only thing you better tell her about your last girlfriend is everything bad. Don't tell her the good stuff. Hey, that girl could cook a mean pot of spaghetti. Don't tell her that stuff. Tell her the bad stuff she did.
I don't eat everybody's spaghetti, so.
Don't eat everybody's spaghetti.
Right. I don't like that she used to snap them chicken bones when she got done with them. Right? Or whatever, right? You know, that's something they down south. They pop them, right? Finishing that chicken leg, pop, they snap it. But so I'm saying, this is the stuff. Now he's starting to see. She's doing all this, but he's totally unaware. Now this is my point. This is one of the points I want to talk about. It's him being unaware. It's not her. She know what she's doing. She know what her motivation is. Her motivation is the money. She could care less what's happening to Sampson. But what is the focal point of why she's able to continue this behavior? She's giving up the cookie. And
so, Brother Clarence, are you saying that each time before she bound him, she gave up the cookie, and that's why he slept so hard?
That is my interpretation. Don't we all sleep hard after that?
Yeah. Listen, I'm from a different kind of neighborhoods, so I don't sleep like that. I don't care what I did prior.
Okay.
You see, not unless I'm under some type of anesthetic. You know, I'm a light sleeper. Put it that way. I'm a light sleeper.
I'm a light sleeper most of the time, but
especially when it comes to people touching and putting their hands on me and fiddling in my hair, which I used to have. But go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying most guys after they get a release like that, they're usually gone. They usually sleep hard for a while.
Yeah,
I get right. So here's Sampson. This is probably Now, it doesn't say this, but I'm putting two and two together. I could be wrong. But why would he continue this situation? If somebody did this just to disrespect you and try to do it, that should let you know right there, hey, this person got bad intentions. Why does he keep messing with a girl that have bad intentions? Now, bring that up to date now, right? Some of us, we go with a girl and she argues with the wait staff. She fusses at the valet. Well, if she's like that with them, eventually that aura and energy is going to work its way to you. Why don't you see this and understand this before you get started? So that's what we have. There's a disconnect in my opinion, because they don't see it. Like Sampson don't see it. They don't see it.
Well, it's because we're ignoring the red flags.
Agreed.
We're ignoring these cautionary things that are presenting themselves to us right in our face. But
Right.
because we are so blinded by the cookie,
Yeah.
that's all we can see, smell, taste, all of those things. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
You see. And so now we become beguiled.
Right.
Right. We become a slave to the rhythm. You know, Grace Jones used to sing that.
Yeah. Right.
See what I'm saying? You're a slave to that rhythm now.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we just not look now. All these red flags going up, man. Right. Like a Chinese parade, right? But hey, nobody's what you call them, Sampson ain't saying nothing, ain't doing nothing, right? So the chicanery, the effery continues. See, this is when you don't check this stuff, this is when this stuff continue. And it continue and continue. And then 10 years later, you ain't never said nothing. You say something after 10 years in the marriage. Now the woman's like, what's going on with you? You being stupid. Why are you gonna stop being stupid? They built their life around you being stupid. They built their whole life as a wife around the fact that you're going to be dumb all the time. And when you want to offer that plantation, they're like, no, right? That's why it's not good to just tell the truth, man. Just be truthful. No, this doesn't work for me. The Lord the Philistine brought her 7 whips about, and now, okay. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, where within mighty step out? Or you ain't gonna get this cookie no more, Vaughn. You ain't gonna get this cookie if you keep on playing with me. Right? Right. What was his motivation for wanting to even continue on? It's that he was getting the cookie.
He was being seduced.
Yeah.
He was being seduced.
But now she's saying, hey, I'm gonna hold back this cookie from you. So you better get with the program. And he said unto her, if they bind me fast with new ropes, I'll be weak as another man, right? New ropes bind, and the Philistines be upon him something, and there were liars waiting in chain. He break from those threads. So he did it twice, right? And Delilah said unto Samson, hitherto thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Tell me within mighty you be bound. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks of my head with the web, and she fastened it with a pin and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. He woke up out of the sea and went away with the pin of the beam and with the web. So he still got up, right? And she said unto him, how canst thou say, I love thee? Uh-oh. You telling this girl you love her?
She sounds like that other heifer, right?
Right. You telling this girl you love her? This is a harlot. You know she a harlot. And you telling this girl you love her. Why? I love you, girl. Please give me that cookie. Please give me that cookie. Some of us are so simple, man. We beg somebody for something that we don't even need to beg for, right? I love you. Please give me that cookie. When thine heart is not with me, how can you say you love me? She's like, how can you say you love me? You won't even tell me what's up. I'm supposed to be your true love, and you ain't even gonna tell me what's happening.
Okay, in other words, we're just friends with benefits. You don't really love me.
Yeah, no, she ain't saying. She's saying it like that. It's like, hey, you said you supposed to love me. Whatever you want to call it, you said you love me, right? Delilah probably was doing some stuff that Sampson ain't never heard of, right? Yeah, I love you, girl. I love you. Right? Now
apparently,
she
was putting it on him, definitely. Something.
Now she's saying, hey, you mocked me these 3 times, and I told me where within that great strength lieth. In other words, if we supposed to be so close, that's something you should tell me. I should know, right? I don't know what her justification is, why she needs to know that, but she's saying, hey, I should have that information, right? Because you say you love me. Manipulation once again. And it came to pass when she pressed him daily with her words and argued him so that his soul was vexed unto death, right? She warned this man in the gray hairs, right? That he told her all his heart, and he said unto her, there hath not come a razor upon mine head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, come up this once, for he has shown me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up to her and brought money in their hand. Right? She got her money. And she said, and she made him sleep upon her knees. She made him sleep upon her knees, right? So he fell asleep with his head in her lap, right? And she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head, and she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. And she said, the Philistine be upon thee, Sampson. And he woke up out of his sleep and said, I will go out as at other times before and shake myself. And he wist not that the Lord was departed from him. Right? He didn't realize that God was gone from him, right? His strength, because he had told her the secret. But the Philistines took him. And
can I say something about 20 real quick before you go on?
Yes, sir.
You know, that is something when we really don't understand that, you know, the Spirit of the Lord has departed from us. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And man, you know, that's a terrible place to be in. Sure. You know, when you think you're operating under the unction of the Holy Spirit, and his Spirit is nowhere near or around you. You know what I'm saying? Because of your iniquities, it has separated you between you and your God. Yeah. That causes him to hide his face from us. Yeah. And that causes him not to hear us at times. Yeah. You see? So it's crazy, man. You know, this whole situation, man, it's getting deeper and deeper, you know, and further away from God.
Yeah, definitely. Arshawn, what you think, man?
I just have a hard time with he's doing what he's always been doing. So it's weird that the Spirit suddenly cares. Like this is how he's demonstrated himself to be. This is how you used him. You would come upon him and he would just go murder people. Like it. So for me, it's weird because it's inconsistent as far as how I can perceive it. I get the whole, you know, my mind is not God's mind, you know, so I'm not trying to say that God's wrong. I'm just saying it's just hard for me to conceive of it from my position. But I definitely, it's just weird that it's weird that he doesn't even get an indication. At that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, not even just at that time, but he didn't even get an indication that I mean, he's like, again, we thought he broke his Nazarite vows already. And nothing about his life has indicated to the people around him that he's a Nazarite. He had to explain that to her. Now, she's somebody that's around this other culture. She's around Jewish people, like he's there. She's around him. She's around other people like him because allegedly the Philistines are oppressing the Hebrews. So she would have had some knowledge, even if not complete knowledge. She would have had some knowledge of their culture, like just through osmosis, being around them so much. And something as peculiar and particular as a Nazarite, that would be memorable. So nothing about the way he lived his life made her think, oh, he's a Nazarite.
And I would just like to add to that real quickly, you know, the Spirit of the Lord did depart from him, you know, because of his iniquity, you see. Now, when you continue to practice sin on a continual basis, you know, the Bible says, you know, shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. So, God is going to give you enough rope to hang yourself now. He's going to give you enough chances. You see what I'm saying? But then there's going to come a point to where he's going to say, depart from me. You see what I'm saying? You worker of iniquity. I knew you not. And those are the people who had gifts, who were gifted and said, Lord, Lord, and Ibobobo Shata. Those are those folks that he had given specific gifts to. And he said, depart from me. So there is a place and a time where the Spirit of the Lord will vanish from you if your lifestyle is not in agreement. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I see it. I don't know if that helped my brother or Sean.
I'll get you. Yeah. Again, that's what I'm saying. I've heard all the different takes why that would be acceptable. It's just for me, the way I think about it, it feels inconsistent. But I know for this narrative, this was already like preordained. He had to be in the position he was in to get the outcome. So I wasn't even trying to. But I get you. I definitely hear your point.
All right, y'all. What we don't hear is Sampson constantly thanking the Lord, constantly. That's what we don't see in this man's life. He just goes, does what he want to do. And he thinks because the Lord, he was chosen by God, he can do what he want to do. That's the problem Israel had. They think, oh man, it's the bloodline. As long as my bloodline, man, as long as I got this bloodline, I can do what I want to do. And it's okay. The Lord's going to forgive it or let it go or roll with it. Not so much.
Yeah. And here's another thing, Brother Clarence, if I could just say this real quickly. What would have been the outcome? He didn't have to, because see, he was caught up in his hair. You see, a lot of us think that's where our strength lies. Is in the curvation of the woman's body. That's where her strength is. The men with their muscles. That's where, or their long hair. You see what I'm saying? But there's no recognition of God, like you said. It is the Lord's doing.
Yeah.
See, so this is a certain type of plagiaristic attitude where we're taking credit from someone. We're taking their credit and using it as if we came up with it.
Yeah.
You see, don't they call that plagiarism or something like that?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now, here's the question. What would they have been able to do if he would have simply told the truth and said, my strength lies in the Spirit of God? Now, what would they have been able to do with that, Brother Clarence?
Nothing. I don't see nothing they would have been able to do.
How were they going to be able to bind him then?
Yeah, that's a good question, brother. I don't see how they would have been able to do anything. They would just have to deal with him. Yeah.
I mean, that's
sometimes we think we can. Sometimes we think we can shake ourselves, as if it's like Bewitched and Samantha who twitches her nose and everything comes to pass. That's not how life works. All I have to do is ding a ding a ding a ding, and then I can change the situation. Like Sampson was under the impression, well, I'll just shake myself again. Sometimes you shook yourself loose from the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
And see, so that's what it is. But what would have happened if he would have just simply told her where his strength actually lied, which was in the Spirit of the Lord?
Yeah. But, he didn't do that. He chose to, tell her something, pillow talking, right? Chose to tell her something to make her happy, but at the same time, dropping his own values, dropping his values, just saying, I'm going to push my values to the side because this cookie's so good. I want to continue maintain access to this cookie, so I better put up, because now she's getting mad and she going to cut off this cookie from me. Some of us feel the same way today, right? We feel like, oh, man, I got to get this woman all my money, because if I don't give it to her, then she's going to find somebody else, right? She's going to cut this cookie off from me, which is really stupid, man. Really stupid, because there's so many women out here. You don't have to be, if the woman that you chasing ain't chasing you at the same rate, what are we doing? This woman was obviously not into him. He saw it. He saw it, but he didn't see it. Right? He saw it, but he didn't recognize it. And that's what let him. How many of our young men today, they don't see that the woman that they with is not really with them. They're just the person that agreed to have sex with you at a specific point in time. That they're really not with your program. A woman that's with you is going to accept your program. They're going to accept you. They're going to accept your value system. They're going to accept and they're going to try their best not to disrespect any of those things. Right? That's what a real woman that's with you is going to do. A woman just that's with you for right now is going to try not to step on your toes for right now. Because maybe some guys like me out there. I wouldn't give away my stuff. Right? You got to prove yourself to me before I would share this great gift with you. Right? So they know, hey man, the dude, I gotta pretend at least like I'm with what he's talking about, so we can get to this point, so we can get to the negotiations. All right, Sampson, big simping right now, man. Huge simping, right? All right, let's see. So they put out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with fetters of brass, right? They gave him some handcuffs. And he did grind in the prison house. So now he's grinding. He's grinding wheat in the prison house. Howbeit the hair of his head began to grow after he was shaven. Then the lords of the Philistines gathered them together to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon their God, and to rejoice. And for they said, our God hath delivered Sampson, our enemy, into our hand. Right? They wanted to have a celebration, right? This dude that was giving us so many problems, we got him now. We took his eyes out, cut his hair, and we got him working in the prison house. And when the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, our God hath delivered into our hands our enemy and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And it came to pass when their hearts were merry that they said, call for Sampson, that he may make sport of us. And they called for Sampson out of the prison house, and he made them sport, and they set him between the pillars. Right? Basically, they called him up, man, to clown him, right? Thought you were supposed to be so strong. Look at you now, Sampson. Look at you now. What did Kumo D say? How you like me now, Sampson? How you like me now? Ba-da-da-da. Funky. Right? And Sampson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, so we know there's kids there too, right? God don't care. The lad that held him by the hand, suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them, right? His hair had grown back. He didn't necessarily have his strength back, but his hair grew back. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there upon the roof, about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Sampson made sport. And Sampson called unto the Lord and said, O Lord God, remember me, I pray thee now. Remember, Bolo told us this, man. When you need something, that telephone is burning to God, right? But when you think you got it, no calls made, right? God got.
So can I ask a quick question?
What?
So in that particular verse right there, I believe, what is it, 28? Which one did you just read, Brother Clarence? Oh, where he's praying, right?
28 right now.
Yeah, he's praying right there.
Yes.
And so do you think that because of the fact that his hair grew back is why he regained his strength? Or the fact that he actually recognized God right there?
I'm thinking.
Which one do you think it is? Do you think it's because his hair grew back to full length? Because some of us assume that his strength is in his hair. Or was it in the fact that he approached God the way that he did and recognized God? Because at this point, he truly realizes where his strength came from. See what I'm saying?
Right. So he said, Samson called unto the Lord, oh God, remember me. Now, Why would God have to remember you if you already plugged in? Why would God have to remember you?
Because he left
hey,
it.
but see, that's my point. He didn't stay plugged in. Samson could have still tried to stay plugged in, but he didn't. He said, "This is my fate. Okay, this is what I tripped. Okay, I'm gonna just deal with it." But now he's saying, "Remember me, remember me." Right? I'm somebody who used to be plugged in, but I lost my way. Here I am now. I pray thee and strengthen me. Now, so his hair grew back, but he didn't have the strength. He's asking for the strength now. Right?
And that's what happens to a lot of us. You know, a lot of us, we wait till we get to that rock bottom experience. You know what I'm saying? That's what it takes for many of us to try to come up from where we're at. We have to hit rock bottom. You know what I mean?
This is my point, Vaughn. A lot of us we're like Sampson, we're like David. There is nobody right there telling you, hey, you make this wrong step, you made this right step. That has to come from you constantly. Yeah, hold on. I'm in the middle of something. I'll get to you in a minute. All right. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Sampson. So we want our what's the word I'm trying to find? Okay. So we don't have that other person. We don't have a person that can come to us and say, hey, like David had Nathan. Nathan came to him and said, yo, homie, this is what you did. You flipped out. You was way off the line here, right? But Samson don't have nobody like that. And if he did, he won't even listen. He won't even listen to his father and his mother, right? That's a whole nother lesson right there, not listening to your parents, right? But he didn't even listen to them. So there was nobody to tell him. He wouldn't listen. So the best way he could be is be connected to the spirit that was sent to him all the time. Keep that connection current, so the current can flow, so that you can always know, my light is dim. I need to charge back up. Right? You look at your iPhone, it say 5%. You know, okay, I gotta plug this back in. I gotta charge back up. Right? That's what we gotta do. We gotta stay connected. If we not, then we gotta wait for other people to tell us when we off. And when you gotta wait for other people to tell you when you off, they may and they may not. There may be something about you that they want, right? And they may not be honest with you until after they get what they want. And it's by then it might be too late. I'm sorry, y'all. The guy that runs the building, man, he is always trying to get me off of what I'm doing, man. I keep telling him, you see the sign in the door that says I'm on the air, don't knock on the door. What the first thing they do? Knock on the door. I'm like, God, I told you not to do that. So you have to excuse me for going off on him because it's like the third time he done did that. Anyway,
you're gonna have to go find you some foxes.
Yeah, man, I'm going to electrify that door or something, man. I got a big sign out there that says don't knock on it if I'm on the air. If the door is closed, I'm on the air. I usually have my door open, but if it's closed, I'm on the air, don't knock. I said, don't knock. Yeah. What they do? Hey, come in. I need to talk to you right now. No, I'm busy. I'm doing something. I deserve that much respect, don't I? Anyway, and Sampson took the 2 middle pillars, right? I pray you strengthen me, oh God, that I may be avenged to the Philistine with my 2 eyes, right? Right? So he gonna do God's program anyway. He had to die to do it, right? And Samson took 2 hold of the middle pillars, which stood, the house stood, which was borne up, and with his right hand, with the one with the left. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. So you know he's gonna die. Let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the lords and upon all the people therein. So the dead which he slew at his death was more than he slew in his life. Arshawn was right. Then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol, and in the burying place of Manoah his father, and he judged Israel for 20 years. Okay, y'all, that's the story of Sampson.
Yeah. I was trying to make it through. I was hoping once I realized you was gonna read the entire thing, I was like, okay, let me see if I can make it all the way through
Oh God, right?
Yeah, let me hold on. But yeah, listen, I do gotta get ready to head up out. So I'm gonna get ready to say goodbye to you, gentlemen. I'll make my run, but I appreciate you for having me. I'm
Always.
glad that
Yes,
you
sir.
decided to read through it. There's a couple other parts that I didn't pick up when I was reading through it myself. So I actually got a couple things that I would want to look into more. So I appreciate you guys, Brother Vaughn, Brother Bro C, and everybody in the chat
Yes, sir.
who's still with us. I hope y'all have a good one. Y'all have a good Saturday.
Wait.
And
Arshawn.
happy Mother's Day too. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers
Yes.
out there.
That's right.
Arshawn, before you go, man, when's the next time we can see you on Critically Drinking?
Ooh, Monday and Friday we'll be doing the Yellows Beat bracket. So that's probably the next thing. Wednesday may do something with Bree, may not, but Monday and Friday for sure. We'll be doing something music on 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. We'll be doing the music stuff. Don't know what we haven't picked anything yet, but we'll be there.
Okay. All right, brother. That's our brother Arshawn. You can see him on Critically Drinking. Go over there, check him out. He said he'd be on there on Monday. So thank you, Arshawn, for showing up. Appreciate you. All right, that's Arshawn. I'm gonna put him down. All right, Vaughn, what's your closing remarks, man?
Well, my closing remarks would basically just be, when we look at this whole story of Sampson, and it's definitely outlandish. It's a lot to take in. It's just a lot to take in.
Yeah, it is.
But the overall thing that I got from it is, give God his due. Recognize him. You see what I'm saying? And if he's blessed you with certain gifts, you see what I'm saying, and anointings. Don't get so high-minded to where you put it as if it's your doing when it's really the Lord's doing. In other words, don't try to steal his glory from him. And then that, along with a lot of other lessons, Brother Clarence, it was an excellent read. Thank you for having this today. It was very insightful, and man, hey, I thought that it was very eye-opening.
Thank you, brother, for coming up here with me. I wanted you, Bolo, and Arshawn. I thought you guys have differing versions and perspectives, and I wanted to just all, and myself included, I wanted us all to put our perspective together and just talk it out and see what was going on, man. So appreciate you, brother. I'm gonna let you go.
I hope that I was able to bring some awareness about this book in the Bible.
Man, you made a lot of good points.
Yeah,
you made a lot of good points, Brian. Now, thank you for that, man. I appreciate you, brother. All right, I'm gonna put you down, Brian.
All right,
thank you,
peace.
Peace. All right, y'all. I'm gonna close this thing up because I got to go handle this thing with this guy. We got a serious problem here, so I got to go and fix that. And so I'm not gonna say too much. Everybody did a great job. Good job, everybody who came up, everybody who came on stage. Great job, Bolo, Arshawn, and Vaughn. I'm sorry, Vagoda. Please forgive me. I will throw the link out there next time. I gotta go. There's something I gotta handle. But until the next time, y'all think about some of the things we talked about. Think about some of the things we said. If a man like Sampson could get caught up, then who else could get caught up? Who else could get caught up? Us. And if Sampson, the reason why Samson got caught up, because he stepped away from praising God and staying connected. Remember, he said, "Oh God, remember me." Why you have to remember you? If you was already connected, I don't have to remember you. You think God have to remember Jesus? You think God have to remember Moses? You think God have to remember David? You have to remember. Yeah, you never seen none of them guys ever say, "God, remember me." They never had to do that. That's telling you something about Sampson's character. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to y'all. I may do a rebuttal to this pre-record to handle some of the other stuff. I gotta go. I gotta handle this situation with this guy. All right, I will talk to y'all later. Peace. Good job, everybody. Everybody in the chat, great job. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us. Peace.